Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 22nd episode of the Neon Crew podcast. My name is Kyle.
And my name's McClain.
How you doing, McClain?
Good.
Nice.
Good.
Excellent. Yeah. We've got a lot to cover today.
I know it's like let's just skip all the fucking intros and how's everyone doing?
Let's just get straight to the point.
Yeah, work was great. All right. I want to talk about one of these films did feel like work. So.
Yes. The other one was Top Gun Maverick.
Oh. Satiating.
But before we get into that, I figured we could just talk about something that we didn't really get a chance to talk about last time.
Because of Sam?
We did have a special guest last episode. Check it out if you haven't listened to it yet. Sam is a great guest.
Yes. No, it was that. I think that's probably top 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At least top 21, I would say.
100%. Well,
yeah.
Depending on how well this one goes.
Right. Exactly. Well, you never know. We'll see. So I just wanted to touch on this real quick. So you know the whole like Morbius memes going on?
Nope.
Well, good on you because everyone else does. So basically Morbius came out and it was not like a huge box office bomb, but it didn't make as much money as they would have liked, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, people kind of knew that it was shitty. There were tons of memes about it, and there were like memes of empty theaters playing Morbius, things like that. And so what happened was it got memed to the point where Sony saw that it was getting memed a lot, and they said to themselves, oh, wow, people are really talking about Morbius. They must ironically love Morbius, and people will want to get a load of this. And so then after it hadn't been in theaters for a while, they re-released it because of the meme.
Oh, no.
And Friday, it only made $85,000 that night it came back.
Across the states.
Across the entire U.S.
Oh, no.
And then the internet clowned on it even more.
Do you guys see this? It's coming back.
Do you know anybody who's seen Morbius?
No. I'm sure I do. I take that back. I mean, it's kind of like one of those, closeted things.
Yeah.
Where you saw it and then you don't openly admit that you saw it.
Right. As soon as people find out, you're just going to be filled with shame.
Yeah. So you just kind of sit there and, it's everyone dogs on Morbius and then you just sit there. Hopefully, I mean, whatever. If you liked it, you liked it. Like, I can't.
Right. And obviously, people can like what they like, and we're not going to judge them for what they like. Yeah. But I only know one person in real life that has seen this movie.
Okay.
And it's like a coworker of mine, and he's somebody who is kind of just a general audience moviegoer. He goes and he sees every Marvel movie and he thinks that they're all pretty good.
Entertain me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
He just goes to the movies to have fun, which a lot of people just do, but
I think that's what you're supposed to do. Well, honestly, I know we sit here.
We're just
Moonfall.
assholes.
I did not have that experience,
right?
But
well, you also spent like $38.
You don't need to go into the whole details.
Okay, well, moving on. Anyway, this person is somebody who loves the Venom films, and he did not like Morbius that much, which is saying a lot.
Yes,
for him to say, because I feel like people who even can like and appreciate most movies that they see in theaters don't like this film, and it just makes me want to avoid it even more because I don't want to pay money to see it. I've already spent money to watch Eternals in the new Matrix movie. So I'm already too deep.
Maybe this will be a movie recommendation down the road that we can, because if I had to imagine, it's just really bad CGI, unlikable characters, and a storyline that they try to make high stake, even though it's a walking vampire that can't be killed or something like that. So it's how much of it is really. It's great. What is fucking the antagonist of the film is Daylight,
Well, it's Matt Smith from Doctor Who, which is funny. I was going to bring this up. I probably watch that video every other day of him dancing to that song. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up. I forget his character's name. It's Milo. Look up Milo Morbius dance scene, and it'll be one of the first ones to come up. It's 40 seconds long.
Sure.
And it's just Matt Smith dancing to this song, and the background lyrics are just the song singing "Have sex, excel, accept," and it's
wow,
that that entire video right there is like what it's like, and it's just him dancing really weird, and then like a few times he'll like do his vampire face where it'll go "Rah!" And then it's worth a watch. I really enjoy it, but not for the reasons that the filmmakers wanted.
I was about to say, well, unless it doesn't sound like Sony had this planned. I thought you were gonna give me a really nice like, oh, they caught on, they know what a meme is, so they pivoted into it and they've kind of ran with the joke. No, they just got swindled.
No, they absolutely did. Like, they totally misread the situation, and they didn't realize that it went as deep as it did. Because like people meme on the movie, but they don't meme on it like in a loving way, or like a so bad that it's good way, like The Room or something like that. It's just straight up a bad movie. And they didn't realize that that's what people were getting at.
Redeemable quality.
Right. Obviously, I haven't seen it. Can't really say that for certain, but just based on what I've heard.
Yeah, gut instinct.
Yeah, something about my intuition. So yeah, I just wanted to share that real quick before we get into it.
I feel bad. I mean, maybe I don't feel bad. It's just, you kind of get made fun of, and then you don't realize it. So you're like, oh, like, why don't you get out on the dance floor, And then you're like, you know what? I'm going to. I think everyone wants to see me dance, but you don't realize they're doing it just to laugh at you.
Yeah.
There's something kind of sad about that, but, they make $100 million every time they release something, so, I mean, like, good, fuck them.
Yeah, I don't feel too bad for them since they're a multi-million-dollar corporation.
Yeah, well, it makes you wonder how they got that much money if they can't pick up on getting memed.
Yeah, right. Well, it's funny because specifically Sony, is so out of touch with audience members and like what people want to see in movies. I don't know if you remember like the whole Sony email leak that happened a few years ago, but in one of the emails, it was around the time that Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out, and it mentioned how it was like you could tell it was just boomers talking to each other over email about like what the young people want to see in movies.
Right.
And one of them read about something saying, kids love EDM. I wonder if we can get Spider-Man to adopt an EDM sort of personality. I think that would be really cool. And also, maybe we can have Spider-Man using Snapchat in the movie, and that'll really resonate with the younger audience. And you could just tell how out of touch they are with emails like that. It's basically the "How you doing, fellow kids?" meme.
Man,
personified.
Not a cap.
It's just super cringy.
Yes.
It's like when it's like what you were saying. It's like when a kid's getting made fun of for being a dork, and then he's like, you know what? I am a dork. I'm gonna take it and roll with it. But then you just cringe at him trying to roll with it. Yeah. It just makes you hurt.
Well, they I would say he at least acknowledges that he got made. They didn't even acknowledge that they were getting made fun of. They thought they were. People were talking about it. So we'll just bring it back.
Yeah, any publicity is good publicity.
Maybe this is a good example of it's not.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. That phrase doesn't always ring true.
Yeah.
And I think this exemplifies it.
Boy, that's tough. Mm-hmm. Well, good on you, Sony. Shout out.
Yeah, at least you tried. We can, speaking of touching on that.
Whoa.
In the original Top Gun, Tom Cruise touched that woman quite a bit during those love making scenes. And it's also got a new movie that came out.
Hey,
called Top Gun Maverick, which we both saw.
Yes, we did.
So it's been a minute since I've seen it. I was telling you earlier. Well, it's been probably like 2.5 weeks.
It has been. You dropped it. You dropped that you saw it on the pod with our special guest.
Yeah, it's probably been more like 3 weeks.
It's been damn close.
Yeah,
like you saw it, I think that week of.
I think I did, because it was while I was on vacation, and a couple of my friends and I went and saw it while some more friends were off to see Paul McCartney in concert.
Interesting.
And I thought about seeing Paul McCartney, but I didn't want to spend $300 for just myself to see an 80-year-old man string a guitar on stage.
Right. I mean, that's like kind of like one of those things where it's like, yeah.
I decided to pay $12 to watch a 60-year-old man fly around in a jet. So yeah, I figured I got the better end of the deal.
Oh,
myself personally.
100%.
Yeah. So, did you want to give a quick synopsis of this one, and then I can get the next one?
Sure. Yeah. I don't know. Hopefully that's good on your ears. So we'll do synopsis, and then maybe I know how I saw it. I didn't get to tell my story of how I saw it.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I saw it in theaters.
That was a good story.
No, dude. Well, I was telling Sam, and here's a shout out, and I will give a shout out to the Phoenix Theaters out in Grand Rapids by the Woodland Mall.
Nice.
And good friend of the pod, Justin. I think he went to the IMAX, and it's funny because my brother went to the IMAX and saw this, and so I started. Like when you talk about something like you go because something's popular. And then the other person starts talking really affectionately about something, and you're like, wow, they just seemed like they had a really great time. Like I didn't think that way about my experience. Why did they have a different one? And we were talking. Sorry, I'm trying not to laugh. It was really funny because I go, the Phoenix Theater. And then finally by the fifth time, Sam's like, the fuck is this Phoenix Theater that you're talking about? And I was like, one of the greatest experiences I've had. I saw the Jurassic Park movie there, the new one. And they have like the rumble things, and they got this Dolby Atmos. They got like the D-Box going on. Kind of, but I don't think it's as crazy that the IMAX is, because Justin said he almost had like whiplash. And I was like, I didn't have anything. And if you didn't, Justin, sorry, but that's how I took it. But yeah, no, and he was like, that's great. I was like, well, yeah. He goes, I saw it at the fucking IMAX, so like way better than you. And I was like, no, because the fact that you have to tell me that you saw it there and make a point of it doesn't mean it was better. I'm telling you, the Phoenix Theater, go check out some movies there. Like, insane.
Where exactly is that?
Right by the Woodland Mall, across the street from On the Border restaurant. They have the Dolby Atmos sound, so like they got the sound, so if it's coming from the right, it doesn't pick up the whole theater, it just comes from that direction. So like when there's different things coming at you, flying around, or they got the weather kind of coming in, like it makes you feel like you're in that environment. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So
I'll have to ask you about that after we're done recording. Remind me.
I will, because I can't, and it's very, it's got a very nostalgic feel to it. They do the lighting. So like, remember the old theaters where they'd have, come down to the Woodhaven Theater, and then like in the bright white lights, it would flash, do all that stuff. Like they kind of have that vibe going with it.
Nice.
Yeah, so I can't compliment it enough, but that's where I saw it at, and it was fantastic. So Top Gun. Essentially what we have is Tom Cruise coming back as Pete Maverick Mitchell, I want to say. And the movie starts out with him fixing his plane, which I don't know. I don't really know the premise around why he's still he's a captain in the Air Force or the Navy still. And they don't really explain what he does. I thought he was a Top Gun instructor, but they said that lasted 2 weeks.
I think what I got from it is he I think, wasn't it like based off the first movie with like the mission that he did at the end, where he was basically granted like not immunity, but he could basically do whatever he wanted at a certain point. He's reached a point where like he can kind of do his own thing, and they won't really like bust his balls for it as long as he like kind of follows in line. That's at least what I got from it.
To what though? I mean, like the guy's salaried, and they're just keeping him on the fucking, base. Yeah, I don't know. He was just fixing a plane. I was like, oh, he's a Top Gun instructor, and then they allude no, that lasted 2 weeks because he's an asshole. So we don't really know what he's doing, but he's fixing things, and then he gets into this test pilot thing. He's got to get to Mach 10, and the new whatever plane that they're flying. For all you plane nerds out there, you don't have to tell me. And Ed Harris is there, and then Ed Harris sees it, and he's like, we got a new mission coming up. We got the Ruskies coming in, and kind of we're sending you over here, and Iceman's back, and Iceman's the one that pulled the string to get him over here. Yep. And then he kind of does the math, and he realizes that Goose's son is over here, and they allude to Goose's kids still being in the Navy and doing the fighter jet stuff. So he gets on base, and it's kind of him taking off and trying to develop a relationship with Goose's kid and overcome some of his demons that I don't really know if we feel like are still there or not. And yeah, and then just a lot of flying planes. So
pretty much. That's a good synopsis.
Yeah, really. So Kyle, what'd you think of it?
I enjoyed it.
Really?
I liked it.
Okay.
I liked it probably considerably better than the first film, I would say.
Yeah, and I watched the first one. I keep saying it. I've seen it. I've seen it numerous times, but more like TNT, TBS, whatever it's on, AMC.
Right.
You know, like I've probably watched that film 5 times, just pieced together the whole thing. So I watched it Monday on Amazon, start to finish. Not bad. Totally 80s film, though.
It's very dated, I would say, with like the music and the cinematography, like the way the story plays out, I would say, in part. Like, I watched it, I think, the same day that I watched the new one, because we were in the hotel room and we had access to Netflix and it was on there, so we just popped it on.
Nice.
And I don't remember, or I should say I didn't remember how little stakes there were in the original movie until the very end. Until the very, very end, where, like, I mean, spoiler alert for the original movie, if you're listening to us talk about the
Yeah. You had to check it out on Amazon, or if not, pause it or skip ahead if you've seen Maverick. But I got to imagine if you're listening to this, you've had to have seen the first one. So.
Right. Towards the end, where like, Goose dies, and then all of a sudden they're being attacked by real enemy jets.
Yeah.
And so, like, the entire movie up to that point is basically just them kind of fucking around and like him making out with this girl, and there's like 2 songs that play throughout it. It's Danger Zone and Take My Breath Away.
Oh my God.
The only 2 songs that play through that movie. I mean, I'm being
hyperbolic. They probably
hyperbolic.
had a couple more, but yeah, I mean, it's like Take My Breath Away, that any time that they could, like, I think he touched her hand one time and they started playing it. I was like, do any time there's like any sort of physical contact or innuendo of something going on, like, we have to play the song to let us know?
Anytime there's Tom Cruise and the love interest in that original film, they just abuse that song.
Oh, it was
so much.
We don't need to get into the and I agree with you on that. And I talked to my brother a little bit about it, because he had like this huge just Top Gun. He watched the thing like 6 times.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he just went off with it. Shout out Sam. And I'll give him credit. He did have he has got a theory that Tom Cruise is a sociopath, narcissistic, like sociopath, and killed Goose to get to be number 1.
Oh,
yeah,
that's quite the theory,
man. It is. And then you watch it, and it's kind of like I go both sides. I didn't really think that it was all his fault, but I don't want to dive into that too much, because you'd think it would play more into this one, and a little bit of it does. His kind of I'm the best, so piss off attitude's still around.
Right, he's cocky as hell.
Yeah, and it kind of resonates. So I mean, I'm happy I watched the first one, and this one, it still plays into it. So you like this?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I would say, like, not my favorite movie, but I'm glad I saw it in theaters just purely for the technical aspects, like the effects, the stunts. I mean, because they used real jets in so many of the scenes.
Real planes, real G's, real speed.
Did they play that clip before the movie?
So you told me that was like they did that, and I was like, and it's funny because I wanted to tell you I saw Sonic the Hedgehog with P.
Oh, nice.
And they did the same thing. They had the characters come on and say, "Hey, we want to thank you guys." So when you were telling me that, I was like, "Oh, I've seen that," but I didn't want to do a Sonic drop right then and there.
I appreciate it.
You would have like.
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second. Time out, man. You saw Sonic 2?
I was going to say, I would have spent at least 20 minutes asking you about Sonic 2.
Yeah.
But
so they did it with Tom Cruise, and I was waiting for that line, and it was awesome. But the other thing was like, man, Tom Cruise looks like a lot older than in this film.
Well, this movie was supposed to come out like 2 years ago.
June. I want to say it was like, was it June? Was it late 2019? And then throughout COVID, and I think it was in like June of 2020.
Yeah.
And then it went September, October 2020. Then it went March 2021. And
like they kept pushing it back because COVID was still going pretty strong.
Yeah.
It wasn't until like this past year that it like has started to die down, and they're like confident in releasing it in theaters.
Yeah.
So he looks considerably older now than he did when he was in the movie. I mean, he still looks kind of older in the movie, obviously. But
I think they did some airbrushing and some.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some kind of de-aging special effects going on, because
youth.
Yeah. And it's weird too, because it makes it seem like Tom Cruise has aged like super rapidly, you know, like, because if you watch Mission Impossible Fallout, he still looks fairly like normal Tom Cruise, like kind of young guy, but not like super young, like middle aged. If you see him in Top Gun Maverick, and especially like just, you know, in the real world now, he looks like he's his age, I would say. Like close to it.
First time in a while that age just hit me where I was like, oh shit, it's never gonna stop.
Yeah, like Keanu Reeves, he can still pass for like probably 40 years old. Tom Cruise, it like hit him like a freight train. I feel like,
and I think it's just because it's all natural too. Like he's letting his body do its thing. Like
right.
He'll combat time as best he can, but he'll do it without doing what everyone else is doing. So,
which is crazy to think that he's still like, because he was filming the new Mission Impossible movies basically during COVID. Like they were having those safety precautions in place while they were filming. I mean, you can look up the video of him like freaking out on set because someone didn't follow the precautions. But I mean, I can't imagine like him ever getting to a point in his life where like, all right, I've got to like reel it back now, because like he's still doing crazy shit.
His next film that's like in production right now is he's filming it in space.
Yeah,
with Elon Musk is like fronting the money.
It's insane.
Yeah,
like the guy has a passion for real stunts.
I think he's going to be the next Evel Knievel. We're going to hear about Tom Cruise dying because he did something dumb.
Right.
I'm pretty sure.
I wouldn't be surprised. People keep joking that every movie he makes is like an attempt of suicide, but in a really roundabout, dramatic way. I
think he still craves. It's like, well, if I'm not going to inject myself with Botox, I'm still doing new experiences. So like, me flying a fighter jet like will be a new experience. I don't care how old I am, and if that's what takes me, Scientology's probably permitted it that way.
Right.
You know. So
back to the film itself. What did you think of it?
Dude, like loved it.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I had so we were right in front. We got up to the ticket thing, and it was like, where do you guys want to sit? And there was like 4 rows back to the left or right dead center, like dead fucking center. And I said, I want those. Because I was like, I want to rub my nose in it. And then, you know, the trailers are coming on, and I've never, you watch a trailer from like 10 rows back, you can process everything. Like I've never realized like trailers, how hectic trailers are until that. Because there's not enough, you can't see enough of the screen to process every visual coming in.
Oh, yeah.
So by the time you think about what you just saw, the next image is coming, and by the time you get to that one, they're already. So my brain was lagging, and I got really nervous that this was how it was going to be for the movie. I was like, I'm not going to be able to keep, because if they're in a fucking fighter planes, you know. And no, it wasn't that, and like at the sound, oh my god, I cannot. This thing's got to be up for like best sound. Like,
yeah, I'd be shocked if they didn't at least nominate this for so many of the technical awards.
Have to.
Right?
You have to.
Because there's so much that goes into it just purely from a technical standpoint. Like Tom Cruise says, real jets, real G's, real speed. I mean, they worked hard to make sure that this movie was as authentic as they could possibly get.
So they had, one of the things I heard was they had to have, so they flew, they had to be accompanied by a fighter jet, and they couldn't touch anything in the plane. But for the camera work, for what we saw, they had to build special cameras into these jets. And you know, just seeing that was insane. And then like Tom Cruise goes, I told Sam, I go, I immediately was just like slumped in my chair. I was like, this is fucking awesome. You know, he goes on that test run, and it's so 80s. Like, you think he's out. Well, you don't think he's out. You just don't know what's going on.
Are you talking about when he's trying to get to Mach 10?
No. That one was all right. Like, I was like, oh, like, we just got to, in case you don't know who Pete Maverick Mitchell is, like, we have to show that this guy's, like, obviously, like, a rule breaker.
Right.
He's not afraid of limits, you know, so. No, it was when They get into the accident. The screenwriting was not that great. They get into the accident, and then all of a sudden, the timeline goes down, and and then John Hamm's like, "I'm taking over," and he gets in there. It's like 4 minutes, and then all the kids are like, "Well, what about this and what about that?" And he's like, "We've got this," and he's got all the answers, and then he just says, "Listen. It's my mission now. This is how we're doing it."
Yeah. I like how he basically says to Tom Cruise, "You're putting these kids' lives in danger, so I'm going to take over and put their lives in danger."
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Great. We don't need to. Well, I'm sure we will, because I'm curious as to some of your thoughts on some things. But then, so he says that, and it kind of gets quiet, and then you just hear the beep. It's like, what was that? It's like someone's on the test course. And Tom Cruise, he's like 2:15 on the clock. It straps up, and then it's just him, and it's so realistic. I was like, I don't know if someone's flying this thing, if he's flying this thing, he's going through everywhere, and you just hear the every time he fucking shit. Oh my god,
that's one thing that I really enjoy about this film is the way that they use suspense. Yeah, because there's a lot of scenes in this movie that I think the whole I'm trying to find the word for it, I guess, but my issue with the first Top Gun movie is essentially the biggest issue I have with it is that there are no stakes until the very end. Whereas this movie, the students have a clear sense of what the mission is. They have to get to a place where they can adequately practice and run this kind of mission. And so there's tension for pretty much the majority of the film. Obviously, there's moments of levity, and there are character interactions that sort of create these lighthearted moments. There's moments of tension between Miles Teller and Tom Cruise, but essentially, it's always in the background until they reach that point where they have to go do the mission. Yes, and I really enjoy the fact that the stakes feel like they have more impact in this film than they do the first one.
Oh, 100%. They beat your ass to death with what they have to do and why it's impossible. Mm-hmm. So every time that something happens, like a side story pops up, they go back to, this is why this is impossible. You think, Yep. And it's just they keep hitting you with it. So that whole time, I don't know. I mean, and this is why I say it was bad screen. It's do they really have to do this thing? And I feel like the fighter program's on its way out. I just never got the whole, realistically, a general walking in there and saying we're doing this, and everyone going absolutely. Besides, I'm a general. Mm-hmm. It never really made sense to me about them doing it. Now to make a kick-ass story and some sweet visual effects, yeah.
They definitely took some creative liberties in getting the story rolling, because they even mention it in the beginning of the movie that fighter jets or fighter pilots are going to be replaced by drones one day. Yeah, there won't ever be manned aircraft in that way ever again. Yeah, and so they even bring that point up, but then they still have the people in the mission in person actually doing the task. So you kind of have to suspend your disbelief. Okay, they could have drones do this, and it would cost no human lives at all on their end, but they just have to make the story, I guess.
I'm not going to hold it against, but I just the stakes are there. If you're no, they have to do this to save the world, or they have to do it. I just knew that there's uranium getting transported, and it was kind of it felt like one of those things where you hear about missions that go bad, 13 Hours or whatever that movie is. Black Hawk Down, where it's if it goes well, no one's talking about it. If it goes bad, if they lose 4 pilots, that guy's losing his job. Mm-hmm. They're up in arms. It's the fighter program is probably getting taken down. They're never building another plane again. Mm-hmm. So that's why I was it only feels like this can go wrong. Right.
They give you a good sense of the stakes, and I like the fact that they just kind of push that boundary of still being grounded in realism, but also being a cinematic storytelling experience, I guess.
Dude, we gotta go over the hill, and then you got the coffin corner.
Yep. There's a lot of intervals there. What did you think of the acting? Because I thought the acting was fairly good for this film. As I was very pleasantly surprised by how little Miles Teller's character annoyed me. Like, I thought he was pretty good. Like, I thought he was decent in the movie. Like,
was
he's
about to-
kind of one of the standout
I mean, you like Miles
performances.
Teller though, like as an actor, right?
I think he's good when he's got a good script and a good director, obviously. Like,
Right.
He's been in some shit like the Divergent series, but I mean, he's great in Whiplash, and I think that he's got a charisma about him that works for certain characters that are written for him. And I think that playing Goose's son and him having the personality that he does in the film, I think works really well for who he is.
I think. I mean, I enjoyed his character quite a bit. I'm trying to think. They were all. None of the. Glenn Powell is in a movie called Everybody Wants Some. First time I've ever seen him. He was Hangman.
Yeah,
loved him in Everybody Wants Some. And then this one, they did like a stereotypical bully. Like I don't feel like he.
You're right. I kind of feel the same way. It almost felt like they had to make up for the fact that they needed an Iceman character like they did in the first movie.
Okay, this is where I get.
He's like kind of an inverse of Iceman because Iceman was always like playing by the rules, whereas Hangman was somebody who like left their wingman. They kind of wanted to go their own way. They were super cocky.
I've never seen a movie botched 2 times. Now, people might disagree with me. When have you ever heard of a villain like he's so meticulous and careful, and he follows his steps by step. He never makes a mistake, and it's like he feels like impending doom or the Grim Reaper. Like, and it's like no. He just has attention to detail.
Right. You're talking about Iceman.
Yes. Like, what? How is that a bad guy? You should see him on his tests.
Well, they needed somebody to be a foil to Tom Cruise's chicanery going on.
I'm going to say that's one of the tests to the movie, though, that no one calls out the Iceman for being so fucking lame. Are you kidding me?
Well, I mean, how much of that is just like kind of the weird homoeroticism in the first movie that goes on? Like the locker room where like Val Kilmer does the weird bite thing, like that.
Yeah,
that little clicking with his teeth thing.
I couldn't tell you. I don't. The characters in the first one are so bizarre to me sometimes. Like, and Slider's by far my favorite. But like. I don't know. I've just never seen a villain. He's not evil. He doesn't do anything bad. He's just literally so careful you can't beat him. It's like, that's not a villain. That's just a guy that's good at his job.
Right. And it's weird too because like they treat him as a villain, but then he's like,
then they have the weird, he's
like good buddies with Maverick at the end.
And then they, and this one, Hangman. So they were like, wow, Iceman was so lame. We have to make this guy really like a hard ass.
Yeah.
And he never comes across once as being like a bad time bully. I mean, he's like a prick, you know,
just like general douchebag.
And then you talk about Iceman being so good at his job that no one dies. This guy's so bad at his job that he literally lets everyone die.
Well, that and he's like not chosen for the mission. Like he's not picked for the final.
Yeah. But that's because he's not good at his job. He doesn't. He's not careful. He doesn't have attention to detail. Like I don't. The Hangman guy was so. I felt like I like Glenn Powell too. I just felt like they missed out on that one. Yeah. But it didn't deter shit from the movie because you're still by the end of it, you get oohed and ahhed.
Yeah, more of an issue with like the character's writing and not necessarily the performance.
Yeah, I mean it's like. They like you said, they completely went 180. Like, hey, we're gonna like remember how Iceman was good at? Let's just make this guy the exact fucking opposite. And then when you talk about it, it's like, no, Iceman was just really good at his job. He wasn't. I mean, maybe he was kind of a prick, but like just because he plays it safe and he takes care of his teammates,
he's a ball buster in the first movie.
Yeah,
like that's kind of like the point of his character is that like he's there to try to rein in Maverick and like his antics.
Yeah,
whereas Hangman is somebody who is just there to kind of be a dick.
There you go. And that's where it was like it felt purposeless. You know, because there's a million of those characters out there. That's why I had an issue with the Hangman.
Yeah. I definitely understand.
But then Tom Cruise he's charismatic as hell, and I mean he carries that film, and he really, I mean, shit, dude, you. I don't think everyone. I mean, you're watching Tom Cruise. You know, it's not like, oh man, everyone was like, oh, it's Pete Maverick, but he does a really good job of making you care.
Yeah,
and pulling you along, and he doesn't drop it once.
I was very much wondering how much of the story. I mean, obviously, the movie's called Top Gun Maverick, but I was still wondering like how much of the story was going to be like about him, because I thought they were going to focus a lot more on Miles Teller and like his struggle with Tom Cruise's character and like trying to be a fighter pilot, but it was very much Tom Cruise focused and centered, which I really enjoyed. Like I liked the fact that it was a continuation of what we saw in the original film.
Yeah, his growth still.
Yeah, like he's still like the same character, and it feels like pretty consistent from the first film, which is a testament to like some of the good parts of the writing in this movie. But you can tell that he's experienced, he's gone through some things, he's somebody who has regrets and has made choices that he's not entirely proud of, and I like his portrayal of the character.
Yeah, he kind of seemed like he was tired, but like this was his life's goal.
Yeah.
Like kind of like the guy that's like, all right, going back out into the woods to chop some wood. It's like, shit, and then you just get out there and you get that smile, and then all of a sudden it's just back to 100%.
Yeah. Like him cleaning the jet was the equivalent of a lumberjack in the woods.
Yeah.
Where you could tell that lumberjack used to be somebody.
Yep.
I like that kind of comparison, I guess.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, he seemed a little softer, but it seemed like he'd grown from where he'd come from. He wasn't playing everything fast and loose, besides in the jet with his life.
I feel like his confidence definitely matched his skill more in this movie than the last one, which shows growth.
That test run, when he goes out there and says 2:15 on the clock and then hits, I didn't even know what a G was until they started explaining it. And he's like, you're going to be climbing that thing at 9 Gs. It's going to feel like 2,000 pounds of someone sitting on your chest. And I was like, oh, I get that now. Like gravity plays into effect and you're climbing at a rate at which your body can't handle it. Like I'd never thought about it like that. So when he goes into that thing and his face is like rippling and he's shooting up there and that thing's just climbing, I was like, fuck.
Yeah. It's so immersive in that it makes you feel the effects of what they're going through.
And I'm happy they explain some of the things that they're, because in the first one, you don't really know. I didn't know any of that stuff. So like them flying around at, 1,200 miles an hour, however fast they're going, like, sorry if I insulted anyone. Like you just don't, you can't really get that feel for where they're at, So then when you actually hear, and you might have known what a G was. I don't know, and I still don't know how much pounds or pressure.
I wouldn't be able to tell you either way.
Right, but like when I heard that, I was like, oh shit. So it made a lot more sense when you start to see some of the antics or like what's going on when they're in these things or why they're so careful, So yeah. And what do you think about the beautiful Jennifer Connelly? I actually was watching that. I didn't know she was in this, I was like, I know why Kyle saw this.
I love Jennifer Connelly, one of my favorites. I'm gonna say right now. It's funny that you mentioned that because I guess the original actress who was in the first movie, I guess, just wasn't approached for this movie. Which, I mean, like, yeah, sure, I guess it's understandable. She's not a marketable name really anymore. So you get someone like Jennifer Connelly who's like still kind of in the game and is still big. So I get why they did it. It's just... And they made her a character that is mentioned in the first movie.
Yes.
So, I mean, I guess they did what they could to, like, kind of tie it back still.
They did. I thought they did. I thought everything in this. I'm sure there's stuff that was loose, but, it felt pretty concise and that they did a great job.
And I like that, like, he's with her and it's not a part of the conflict. Like, it's not a source of conflict for him to have to deal with. If they had made it that way, like I thought they were kind of going to for a second, when the daughter tells him, don't break her heart. Yeah, don't break her heart again, or like something like that. Like I thought that was going to be something that came back later and would be like a point of contention, and then I'd have to roll my eyes and be like, oh, they've got to shove this conflict into the movie now. But I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah,
I'm glad they didn't go that route at all.
That's as far as they did go, because that scene pissed me off. Now, like, it was super funny, and then all of a sudden it's like, don't do this to her again. It's like, come on, like, she's not even a part of it, And he's 60.
I will say the scenes with the romantic interest a little more tastefully done in this film than the original. I would say, just based on a pure aesthetic reasoning, that being the silhouette of them making out with each other in the first film. Like, that goes on for a little bit too long while that song "Take My Breath Away" plays in the background.
Yeah, that was 80s.
A little bit dated. This one I feel is a little more subtle and kind of reasonable in a way.
Did they play "Take My Breath Away" in this one?
I don't think so.
They didn't do it. I was really hoping. Maybe it was just in my head that would have been a nice like.
They had a lot more variety in music with this one, thankfully.
I couldn't even tell you what songs. I think there was a couple good times where they played something that was like nice.
Well, they played. Obviously, they played "Danger Zone" in the beginning.
Yep.
And then they played "Great Balls of Fire."
Yep.
While Miles Teller's playing the piano. Other than that, like it's a pretty straightforward score.
Yeah, I think they had like Thunder,
AC/DC.
Thunderstruck, or there was some song that was like that when they were like taking off for the first time.
Wasn't it when he was doing the first test?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
If I take it down, gotcha.
Right.
And they were playing. I couldn't remember what song it was, but that was. I thought that was really well done. And don't just sit there and laugh because like, oh, you can't remember, so it must have fucking sucked. No, I'm just wrapped up in the film.
Yeah, I thought the use of the music was a lot better in this one.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
Skillfully done, artfully done, tastefully done.
Mm-hmm. I guess a criticism that I have with this is that some of the writing is still pretty cheesy. Like
100%.
And I guess that's kind of the nature of the movie, but in the first one, it was nothing but cheese, pretty much. Like the first movie, the colonel basically tells him, Maverick, you're the most dangerous pilot I know, but god damn it, you're someone who gets things done, or like whatever he says.
Yeah.
And in this movie, it like kind of goes that route a few times, specifically when he does the flight test to prove to John Hamm that he can do it in under 2 minutes or whatever.
Yes.
Like John Hamm's looking out the window with his like arms behind his back, like in that sort of general stance that military dudes in movies have. And he's like, you know, Maverick, I should kick you off the Navy right now for what you did. I should reprimand you and have your ass in court. But damn it, if you didn't prove a point to those students, I gotta admit, you're back on. Or like whatever he says.
Did. I'm going to tell you right now, because they did it a couple times in this film, because I think we're on the same thing, and I don't know if it's cheese or just bad writing. Decisions hand that like need to be made that we're going to tell the audience we're thinking about as a character, so you know where we're at when we make this decision. That was the last one that happened, but that was like I was like, stop doing this. You know, it was like, he's like, Penny, I could have left you. Like one of them's like, Penny, I could have left you and I could go back and fly my planes. Or I could come back here and live happily. Be with someone that I love. Maybe just fly a little bit, you know, and kind of find myself. I just don't know yet, Penn.
Yeah.
Or when he does Iceman, talking about Miles Teller. I don't know how to get him. If I don't do it this way, he's going to hate me this way. And if I do it this way, he'll hate me this way. So I don't know. And then literally Val Kilmer, who can't, because he's got this, was it COPD or whatever?
It's throat cancer.
Yeah, he points to the screen again, and Tom Cruise is like, "No, you're right." Like literally had to process out loud. And then the John Hamm thing, he goes, "You made me look like a fool. You come in here, you do the test run, you disobey my command. I should have you court-martialed. But at the same token, if I don't get you back to train these kids, because you're the only one that can do the run, then these kids are all gonna die. So you've put me in a bind."
Right.
And then he's like, and he goes, "That was rhetorical," which I laughed at that. I'm not gonna lie, I had to giggle at that one. But like, there are, I think 4 or 5 times where decisions are being made but processed out loud, so you know the internal conflict going on. And like, I think that's good every once in a while, maybe. Like the John Hamm thing,
like maybe once is fine, but a few times is a little too much.
You're hand-holding the audience members and saying, like, you don't know where they're at emotionally and, like, what they're debating.
Yeah, exactly. What did you think of, speaking of Val Kilmer, what did you think of him in the movie? Like, I was wondering how they were going to implement him, knowing that he really wasn't able to speak.
They did it. I mean, like, we keep saying tastefully. I thought the scarf over the neck and you know, we'll have him right. But then I was also under the, like, he was a previous admiral and he had been retired. Like, I thought he was still running things the way he was talking, and how he got Iceman into the position, or Maverick into the position that he was in.
Yeah, like he still got like a ton of influence over the Navy.
Well, I mean, I thought he was still like getting paid. Like,
Right.
hey, you're still making decisions. And then he comes in there. I was like, there's no fucking way with him typing up on a keyboard. You know, he can't text everything to everyone.
Mm-hmm. I liked his inclusion. I liked the scene with him and Tom Cruise, even though like it felt a little bit hand-holding, like you said, with them talking about Miles Teller and like his struggle with him. I am not sure how I exactly feel about them killing off his character because of the cancer, because they implement it into the movie. Like they actually implement the throat cancer that he has in real life into the film.
They did.
But it's weird because Val Kilmer's still alive, and I don't know if, like, obviously maybe for like story purposes they did it, but I don't know what purpose that would serve to the overall narrative. Like, what would he gain from Val Kilmer's character dying?
What it was an attempt to have like, oh, remember when we killed Goose off and the audience members had that emotional attachment? Like, let's kill off Val Kilmer and they have that emotional attachment. So, because we're not going to try to kill anyone else off. So let's take a major player and do it that way.
Right.
And get a little bit of the sentiment, you know, in that regard. And it's an easy one because he's got throat cancer. We can easily get him out. It's kind of low fruit, low stakes, but it's going to reap major dividends because you know that people that, like, I mean, shit, I was like, damn. Like, and I like, they didn't have to.
Right. I just wondering, like, if they should have, like, at least included, like, one more scene where, like, because I feel like it's so sudden of a transition from like him seeing Val Kilmer and like having that conversation with him to Val Kilmer's character dying.
What they were going for was that like you've been seeing him text, and all of a sudden you get him on screen, and then it's like, let's pull the rug. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe for me personally, I would have probably liked to see like another scene where like maybe Tom Cruise goes to visit him in the hospital, but you don't necessarily have to see him lying there in a hospital bed. You can just like, I don't know, like see him look into the doorway and like acknowledge him. Like, you don't have to see Val Kilmer on screen. You can just see Tom Cruise's reaction or something. Like
hitting the glass or like let me in there. Maybe you can just hear the heartbeat monitor going or something like that.
Maybe not that dramatic, but you know, something a little more somber that would lead into the scene with the funeral.
Yeah.
Because to me it was a little sudden, but it's just a minor thing.
I mean, I didn't get too much. I mean, honestly, I was like, I don't know how long Val Kilmer's been talking like that or had the throat thing.
So it's interesting because I guess like when they were filming that, he was to the point where he really couldn't speak much at all.
Right.
Like it was even more incoherent than what it is in the movie. They used, I guess, artificial intelligence to recreate his voice for that specific scene where he does speak.
Right. Because
it's still like super raspy and like you have a hard time kind of like...
still commanded 10% of the budget.
Right. But it's an interesting fact, I guess you could say.
I was just curious because like when I was watching it, I was like, this feels... I honestly didn't need to see Iceman at all. I had no interest in anything. All I know, I thought that I honestly thought that they were like, oh, we got him in here. Shit, we can't, he can't do anything. This is gonna be tough. Let's just have him text, and he'll be that gentle reminder or the voice in the sky saying, hey, like, don't forget,
Yeah.
And then when they had him in there, I was like, maybe it's bad on my end, but I was like, I can't imagine anyone liking shooting any of these days. Like,
I think they were probably just happy to have him in the movie.
Yeah, and he's like, when I say it like that, it's not like Val was going to be an asshole or anything like that. It's just kind of like, he can't talk. He can't say anything. He's just typing up stuff. Like, if he has to do a reshoot or something has to happen, like, that's why I thought, like, when they killed him off, I was like, oh, it's a peaceful goodbye for someone that it's just his career. He won't be able to be in any other one.
Yeah.
So it's like, why don't we just have it on a high note? But probably, like you're saying, a little bit, if they could have did it more intimately, maybe something as an audience member, like a real nice tribute. I mean, instead of the 21 gun,
Yeah, because I like his inclusion in it overall. It just feels like it's like kind of copied and pasted in there.
Everyone says like the homoerotic, like, or the overtones, in the first one.
Yeah.
Like they end it. Tom Cruise kisses him. Like that's how they like say goodbye.
That would be a different kind of movie.
God damn it! I've always loved you, Iceman. And then it's like,
Iceman, you were a ball buster, but damn it, I loved you.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, like they really like, oh, it was. Everyone's pointing, I told you so.
Whoa, they were gay.
Oh man, people would have fucking lost it.
Oh my god, there would have been two strong different reactions to that. Yeah.
Oh my god, just people from behind just like puking, and everyone, like other people like,
Yeah, you get like two extreme results with that.
Yeah. No, that would that's anyways. No, I'm with you on that. I didn't have that big of a grief with it or gruff.
Gripe.
Yeah, that word sounds about right.
Grief, gruff, gripe. That's a shirt.
Grim.
Oh, this is grim. This is real grim.
We'll be okay. This is grim.
This is grim.
This is so grim. I need to start saying that.
I think about it sometimes, like every other day.
Sometimes, like every other day.
Just that phrase.
Oh, it's such a good. Oh my god, it's it's a really nice look at someone being panicked.
If you don't know what we're talking about this scene in the Star Wars documentary we talked about last episode, and it's this guy who comes upon this scene that set that they built in the desert that was ravaged by a storm, and the guy's going, "This is grim. This is seriously grim.
Yeah,
it's fine. This is grim."
Like tried to reassure himself, and then he couldn't do it.
He's just going back and forth. So just for context, that's what that was.
So I'm trying to think, like
what? Okay, I guess I can ask you. So you, a little bit of the writing you had a criticism with.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the mostly just the writing, I guess. But like, was there anything else that you sort of had criticisms for?
No, yeah. I mean, I think it stems into the writing. Like one of them is, they do the beach scene, which they play out, and I'm not gonna get into sport ball, but they do some bizarre thing that doesn't make any sense.
Oh yeah, they do like the double football. Like there's two quarterbacks.
Tom Cruise literally goes, "It's offense versus defense. That's how I teach them." And John Hamm's like, "What?" And he goes, "They both have a football. They both stop each other, and they both score." And I'm like, okay, so like if one team just went over here and the other one went here, and they just kept throwing the ball back and forth and just kept scoring, they'd tie. Like there's no, like, you don't stop. There's no point to that, right?
Scene logistics.
Like I said, I don't want to get into sport ball, but then John Hamm's like, it went from 2 weeks to 1 week, and then they do the test fight, and then someone crashes, right? And then it goes from like, he comes back, you got 3 days, and then he chooses, you don't see anyone do any of the testing, so maybe that's what built up the tension, because for me, I'm like a football guy, and like if I hadn't seen someone stop a guy, a pulling guard, I'm not going to be like in game day, like, "You're ready to go, son, let's go." Like that is like a fuck no, like we need to come up with a new defensive plan right now, you know? So didn't like that. And then the person that gets in the crash somehow makes it into the flight to go. Like they were like dude, they had a fucking week to get ready. The crash happened. They had to stay in the hospital an extra day. They lost 2 days of training. And then Tom Cruise is like, "Bingo, you're it."
Yeah.
Like, let's go, cowboy.
Yeehaw.
How?
Scene logistics. Yeah, I agree. It's a little rushed.
I think honestly, if you take out the time frame, you still build up the tension of what's going on. Like you didn't have to they could have practiced for a fucking year. I don't know how easy what they're doing is. You know,
probably not easy.
That's what I'm saying. So like you don't have to. I mean, it builds up the tension. So that was it. I had a couple, and then I really got upset that Miles Teller and Hangman were the only ones in their planes. Like when in F-14, everyone had a co-pilot. So at the end of the film, when the crash happens and all that, I thought someone died.
Yeah,
and I thought they literally just brushed it off. Like so, and I had to do like some digging to find out was there someone else in that plane with Miles Teller?
Nope.
No, there wasn't. So that it saved face a little bit, but the way that some of it was going with the continuity, I could have easily seen that happening.
So we can wrap this up real quick, but first,
Okay.
I guess I wanted to ask you, like, what did you think of the ending? Like, I thought it was pretty, like, it was very cinematic, obviously. Like, they made it, you kind of think that maybe Tom Cruise died, but then obviously he's not, and then he and Miles Teller team up, and they kind of have this like bonding thing where they're trying to get back to the ship. Like, it's kind of cheesy, but it's very satisfying to me anyway.
So I And real quick, I'll try to be quick about it because I had a thing where I was like, oh man, you kill off Iceman, Maverick goes right, and then they do it, and Teller goes back, and then and then there's some funniness, and then I got kind of pissed. I was like, it's turning into this type of film, like a buddy ending, like, hey, we got to make it out behind enemy lines, and I was upset that they didn't use Hangman to come back and take anyone out, and so as the ending's kind of going on, I'm rewriting it in my head, like, oh, this is what they should be doing, and by the end of it, I'm like sitting there. I was like, "Oh my god!" I think they're just got to get across to like friendly lines, and then that guy will leave them alone. Like I had no idea what was gonna come after that, and then it just happened, and I was so fucking like, "Whoa!" Yeah. And I was just 15 minutes ago in my own head, like this would make it so much better if they did it like this, or and then all of a sudden here I am 15 minutes later, like, how are they gonna do this? So I really liked it. I thought it was great, and that they wrapped everything up about as best as you can in a nice little bow tie, but it was like a very satisfying one. I don't think it wasn't they didn't make it like ridiculous.
Yeah, that's how I would describe it. It's very satisfying.
Yeah.
Very cinematic.
Yes. I think that's what makes it really well done. Is that the fact that it's like you don't leave with blood in your mouth, and there wasn't anything where it was like, that was way too much. Like, I didn't need half of that.
Right.
Yeah,
I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
What would you rate it?
So, I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Nice.
Yeah, I was a 9 out of 10. And I was a 9 out of 10 pretty much for being on one of the greatest thrill rides I've been on in a while.
Sick nasty.
Yeah.
I would give this an 8 out of 10.
Yep, I had a feeling that's so... You want to guess where I had you at?
Did you think I would give it a 7?
Yes.
No, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great theater experience, first of all. I'm glad I saw it in theaters. And I just thought it was a pretty decently done, technically apt story.
Yeah. I mean, and I went with a friend of mine, and she she gave it a 10 out of 10. And was like, the story was really good, and I was like, that's kind of what was shocking, was that they actually did a little bit better of a job than they did with the original.
Considerably better than the original, in my opinion.
And still fairly simple storyline, right? Like nothing too convoluted or...
Oh, no. I'm glad that they didn't go that route. Like, they could have made like more points of tension. They could have like easily like kind of fell into that trap that a lot of movies fall into, but I'm glad that they didn't.
Nice.
So, yep. 8 out of 10, baby. Speaking of a 10.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Myers, fuck it. Cat in the Hat.
Fuck it. Just do it.
Yeah. So I guess I can give the synopsis, since this was my film pick recommendation for this episode. Is the 2003 live-action Cat in the Hat film, directed by auteur Bo Welch.
It's a hell of a way to describe him.
It stars Mike Myers as the title character, and is about these two kids, Connor and Sally, whose mom is having this basically work event party thing at their house later that day. And she's very busy, so she has to leave the kids alone a lot of the time. And she emphasizes for them to not make a mess in the house. And all of a sudden, this anthropomorphic 6-foot-tall cat person thing shows up and kind of creates havoc for them. But there's also a lesson learned along the way. And it's based off the Dr. Seuss book, Cat in the Hat. It's a childhood favorite of mine. My mom would read that to me quite often as a young boy. And it's probably my favorite Dr. Seuss book, I would say. Yeah. Next to Oh, the Places You'll Go.
That's my number one.
Nice.
Yeah.
They're probably even for me, I would say. Like,
sorry, I think the cat, not
the
scat.
The scat and
the cat, the cat in the hat scared me a little bit when I was a kid. So.
Oh, how come?
Evil. I just thought he was evil. I didn't realize
he was evil.
I didn't think he was trying to teach a lesson. I thought he was just wreaking havoc, and then he himself learned a lesson of don't fucking make a mess where you go. and the kids were just there, and they were kind of subject to his whatever. He was a grown person that just did whatever he wanted to. What are they gonna? How are they gonna stop him?
Right. Who's this predator that's come into this house?
Not like it was like a bully. Like, I'm gonna eat all your food, and you can't stop me because you're little. And it's like, hey, don't do that. We paid a lot of money for that, and so it's not like, life or death scenarios, but it's definitely like he took advantage of them. You can't say he didn't.
Well, you can definitely apply that even more so to the actual movie.
Oh God, yes.
So this movie it's something else, man. So I've been it's been a long time since I've seen this. Since I recently saw it. Before that, I was in 3rd grade, 10 years old, and I barely remembered a thing from the movie. But I do remember my mom telling me when I was a kid, before I'd actually seen it, she said to me, I don't want you to watch the Cat in the Hat film. It's not actually made for kids. It's more of an adult movie. And
she said that to you?
She said that to me.
Wow.
I remember. Because I remember watching previews for it, and as a kid, Cat in the Hat being my favorite Dr. Seuss book, I was like, I want to go see that. And my mom was like, let's not do that. And as a kid, I wondered, like, oh, how come? And then I saw the movie when I was 10, and I kind of understood what she meant.
Oh, yeah.
By that. I don't think I was 10, actually. Maybe I was like 8 or 9. But
it was 2004 maybe when you started, because it came out 03.
Yeah, so probably 2004. So I was probably 9 years old. This film is really edgy. Like, it's way more edgy than a lot of comedy movies made in the 21st century for kids.
So, like, is it edgy or just, like, flat out just raunchy?
I would say probably both.
Like, you think they're pushing the envelope on anything?
Well, it's weird because, like, so this is only one of 2 live-action Dr. Seuss adaptations. Yeah. The first being The Grinch.
Yep.
And people really, like, obviously it's not a great movie, but people have a fondness for The Grinch. I mean, I personally have a fondness for it because, it's a Christmas movie. It's a little more, I guess, wholesome than The Cat in the Hat. The Cat in the Hat comparatively feels very, like, kind of cynical and, like, just purely for the jokes. There's jokes in The Grinch, obviously, but this movie is so chaotic and so, like, throwing everything against the wall to see what sticks and then just, like, pumping shit into it the entire time.
Guess, like, maybe we'll just keep tying in tidbits of information or whatever, but that was... So you have to kind of, with this one being made, you got to go back to The Grinch. Mm-hmm. And just one of the only things, and I think it's early in the reading up on some of this, was they used some of the jokes that didn't quite make it into The Grinch that made it into this, and Ron Howard put his foot down with the making of The Grinch, saying, we're not that kind of movie.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense.
And they had, so the 3 writers of this one they did the rewrite for The Grinch. And I don't know, the one thing I was trying to figure out was, did they rewrite it and Ron Howard said no to their jokes? Or did they rewrite it because Ron Howard said no to the original jokes? Because the original Grinch, they rewrote it and they didn't take any credit for it. So the 2 screenwriters for The Grinch stayed attached to the film. And I don't know if... So the 3 writers were a Seinfeld trio. Did you...
Interesting.
Alec Berg,
David Mandel, and Jeff Schaefer.
Yes, and they didn't have their name attached to The Grinch, and I don't know if that was for creative purposes or to protect their reputation, because they're like, yeah, like, this film's gonna fucking suck. Like, keep those 2 guys on it, and then it's a commercial success. So it's like, hey, let's bring those guys back. So I was trying to find out, all right, the jokes that Ron Howard said no to, who wrote them? That's one question that, if you guys can answer, let us know.
I feel like The Grinch is definitely like more of a Ron Howard movie than, like something like I mean, obviously he didn't direct this movie, but it feels like something that would be like in his line. Whereas like this movie, if you were to tell me that Ron Howard directed The Cat in the Hat how it is now, I don't think I'd believe you, because it doesn't seem like the kind of thing that he would really be willing to make, just in terms of like the humor.
Dialogue and the well, and so Dr. Seuss's wife, Giselle,
Yeah, the widow.
Yeah, the widow Seuss. They didn't want to do they weren't going to make a live action film, and then Brian Grazer from Universal got them to sign off on The Grinch. As long as Jim Carrey, Robin Williams, Jack Nicholson, or a fourth were to play The Grinch. They got Carrey to do it. They had to find the director. Ron Howard was working on The Seawolf by Jack London. So he was out in like Connecticut. Grazer brings him in, says, you got to sell it. On the way over, Howard writes it in his head because he's like, you can't. It's a cartoon. If it's his heart's 2 sizes too small. So Howard took some creative liberties with it, right? Turned it into whatever it was.
Yep.
I don't think that anyone took any creative liberties from the film. Like they were like, hey, let's just leave the story as is and we'll just pack it with these really weird jokes.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it has a through line. It just feels like an excuse for Mike Myers to go batshit insane and wear all these costumes and do all this wacky shit.
He didn't even want to.
Yeah, I guess he would show up late on set, he wouldn't remember his lines or anything. He just didn't give a shit about this movie. He was kind of forced to be in it, right?
Yeah. Do you know how? So I had to do all this reading on it. Did you hear about how this got made?
Not exactly.
So he had with SNL, right? He had this comedic sketch called Sprockets, in which he played Dieter. Okay. Universal and Imagine signed on to have him write Sprockets the movie. 2 weeks before shooting, he said, I need 2 more months to write this film. They sued him. Then Imagine came in and sued him. He countersued them, and they came up with, you'll make the Cat in the Hat for us. So Myers he was only going to act in it, right? And the guy who's going to direct Sprockets, you know who that was?
Bo Welch?
Bo Welch.
Ooh.
So he gets Bo Welch to sign on with him to do Cat in the Hat because and that's where you learn about Mike Myers is a piece of shit.
Oh.
I was like, I didn't really know that he was like that. Remember Sam's like that? Like the Cat in the Hat ruined his career? No. Mike Myers ruined his own career. He had a reputation of doing this with screenwriting or his creative ideas is he'd sell them and then weeks before shooting, he'd pull them.
Oh,
and
interesting.
So after this, Cat in the Hat, I'm pretty sure they were
Yeah, enough of your chicanery.
You get Shrek, and that's what you can live off of. Because he does every Shrek voice he possibly can. Have you seen his IMDb since Cat in the Hat before The Love Guru?
No, I haven't taken a peek.
All Shrek. All Shrek. And he's got Inglourious Basterds sprinkled in there, which I was like, oh, wow.
I mean, he's good as Shrek, but,
yeah,
you know.
So, so that's kind of how, and that's how this one got done. So makeup would take 2.5 hours. He surrounded himself with his own team and sycophants. Did you hear about the Tupperware or read about that?
No.
He had a guy that had to carry around chocolate in a Tupperware and had to laugh at his jokes.
What the hell?
Yeah. And he didn't like the kids, so that's why a lot of the shots are over their shoulder, so they don't have to be in the same. Some think it's because of the costume design. Others think it's because he didn't want to be on the set with them at that time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's weird because I've seen all the behind the scenes stuff for this movie, and you would not get any indication of any of that
right
in the special features at all.
Oh, they're probably all laughing and having a great time because they're just shooting it
he's making jokes with the kids. Granted, they're weird ass jokes.
Yeah,
he jokes about communism with Dakota Fanning, but it's a little.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah, she's like, Mike Myers is so funny. I love working with him, and he's telling some weird joke about communism. It's kind of unsettling.
Speaking of being detached.
Yeah. So yeah, we can kind of get into this movie. I want to get into some of the jokes that are in it. So I wrote down notes. Obviously, there's some really notable stuff, when they hop over the fence and he finds a garden hoe and he's like, "You dirty hoe, I'm sorry, baby, I love you." And then the whole let's take a look under the hood.
No, don't. So bad. How did that? That's when I watched it with Preston 5 years ago. That was the scene that I stopped what I was doing to watch. I remember being like, I don't know what's really going on. I've seen some things right now. And that scene, I was like, oh my God. And then they allude to, there's this giant tennis racket. And he's like, oh, that's oversized. That's unusual. And I was like, what is going on?
So, but my coworker showed me that scene of him like with the butt crack in like the tow truck outfit.
Yeah.
It was like, let's take a look under that. I died laughing of how like it's not in itself funny. It's just so absurd that it caught me off guard. Like it's so fucking unbelievable that is in a movie.
They said that would be funny. They literally looked at Bo Welch in the eyes and said this will hit.
Like I'm laughing, but only because it's so stupid.
Have you seen?
It's so dumb.
Oh yeah, it's horrible. And the guys that wrote Seinfeld wrote this. That's where I'm like so like, what happened?
It's like they have him in like all these costumes throughout the movie. Like there's so many costumes. Like I didn't even remember how many there were, but like there's him in the tow truck outfit, him as the chef, him as the guy next to the chef in the sweater, him as the like Jamaican dude talking to Alec Baldwin on the sidewalk, him in the tennis outfit, him in the like Hawaiian like hula outfit with like the coconut bra.
Yep.
There's so many costumes that they have him in on top of him being in the Cat in the Hat costume. Like it's insane. There's so much going on.
Even
like it's
in the
so
book,
chaotic.
Did they have it like that?
No, I don't think he wore any costumes in the book. Like if he did, it wasn't a notable part of the children's book because it's so short and simple. And this one they just have him like in these costumes. Like I totally even didn't mention the like Easy on Sunday Morning.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
When Beans from Even Stevens hits him in the balls with a bat, it's such a visceral sound effect. Like it sounds like he broke something. No. And then he gets hit, and then it immediately cuts to him on the swing set, and that fucking song's playing.
I was laughing at that. That did have me like laughing a little bit.
That caught me off guard.
I don't even know what it was supposed to be like representing.
What was the purpose?
Just as a little schoolgirl or whatever. Oh, they made neutering jokes, cutting off ball jokes.
Oh yeah, they had like many neuter jokes in this movie.
Like it's a cat, it gets its balls cut off. It'll be really funny. And I'm like, I don't know who this is playing to.
Yeah, kids are gonna love the spade and neuter jokes in this film.
I honestly think the way I was like thinking about this film was like these guys that wrote it felt as if Cat in the Hat would only apply to a certain like test, and that they were bringing their kids so they could watch it.
Yeah. Like it's so specific sometimes with like the jokes and the gags. Like at one point they have Paris Hilton in the movie.
Yeah.
Like in the scene where they're at like the club or whatever.
He loses his hat.
He loses his hat, and then all of a sudden he sees Paris Hilton and he like becomes enamored with her and starts dancing with her. And it's not like she's like wearing modest clothes. Like she's in a skimpy outfit.
I'm glad you brought that up because guess what happened? I think 2 to 3 weeks before like post production.
What's that?
One Night with Paris. The sex tape came out and they had a chance to cut her out of the thing and elected totally to keep her in.
Yeah. They made a point to like show her and like have Mike Myers in the cat outfit dance with her.
One of the earlier influencers that I can remember. I mean, like, it wasn't social media. It was just whatever she was attached to. You kind of went. She
was a socialite. Yeah, she's like one of the first socialites.
Yeah. So I mean, like, this morning when I woke up after watching it, I was like, I had to Google why was Paris Hilton in that film. Like, I didn't know if if Universal owed them money, and then the one thing I read was like, they brought that up. And the guy is like, and it's just before post-production or before they finally wrapped up the whole thing, she had her sex tape come out. So they had a couple weeks to decide, hey, do we want this in here or do we take this out? And for a kid's film, you should probably just leave the sex tape, chick in there, right?
Well, like, I mean, Jesus Christ.
It didn't do
Are kids going to know who Paris Hilton is?
No, but my point is, like, you see her, you're going to look up, like, who was that hot chick? Like, at 13 years old on Google, who is that?
Oh, my God.
I'm telling, like, there's a lot of, for something that was so low stakes, it didn't play any factor in the film, for them to just be like, let's just keep it. I was like, that's a bad choice.
God, there's so much shit in this movie.
The cat got a boner at one point.
Oh yeah, with the hat.
Yeah.
The like boing sound effect.
Yeah, the thing shot straight up. He looks,
Isn't it when he like sees a picture of the mom?
He looks at the mom, and then they do the centerfold cut. So
yeah,
it was like a weird like it's just a picture, and then it's like, hey, what's this? And then then it's like, that's my mom, and then he's like, oh. You want to know what's funnier than that though?
What's that?
3 minutes before that, he explained to them how you fucking have a kid.
Yeah.
And then he's doing the thing with his hands.
Well, when a mommy cat and a daddy cat love each other very much, and then they like cut him off.
No, he went into like, you see, they kind of, and then he started doing the thing with the hand, and I'm pretty sure he got the finger in the hole. And then they're like, no, not that cat. And he's like, oh, okay. And I was like, who gets this? It's weird.
It's funny you mentioned the centerfold, because there's a deleted scene. And I guess we can kind of get into the deleted scene stuff.
Dude, whatever you want to attach. No one needs to see it.
So,
no one needs to see this shit unless you're with like about 8 to 10 people and you're gonna have a good time. Like, don't watch this by yourself. I'll just say that.
Roast this with a friend or multiple friends.
Yeah,
I recommend it.
Have at least one other person with you and neither of you have seen it.
So there's a deleted scene where they have to get from point A to point B. Obviously, there's like them jumping the fences, but there's a scene where they're in a backyard and there's a slip and slide. Oh, and then the kids go down the slip and slide, and then a second later, Cat goes down the slip and slide, and he's got a magazine and he's holding it facing the camera, and it's Kelly Preston in a bikini, and he's just staring at the camera as he like passes by on the slip and slide. It's insane. It's wild. I see why they cut it.
Cum joke.
I don't know what they were going for with that exactly. Just that like he thinks the mom is hot. Which also, let's talk about that for a second. I feel like they kind of really like sexed her up for this movie weirdly.
100%.
Like she's super
cleavage.
Like they made her really sexualized in this like
she was hot.
Film.
She was hot.
Well, not only that, but like her outfit choices that they picked for.
That's what I'm saying. Like you could easily have a mom that works real estate that wears like dress pants and like a nice blazer with a button-up shirt.
Yeah,
she had a blouse on with like this like all pink, tight hips, tight skirt, blonde hair.
It felt like it felt like the set designers and like the costume designers and like all this stuff were like really pervy. Like I don't know, like dude, what
it was. I'm telling you,
with like Paris Hilton.
They were like, kids aren't going to get the cats. We got to get all the older dads here. So, like, what are some things we could do for our target? Like,
dude, maybe. I don't know. They had a little bit of that in The Grinch, too. When he, like, launches out and he falls into Martha May Huvier's breasts. Mm-hmm. Like, they had a little bit of that in The Grinch. I feel like they just went tenfold.
Well, I think what happened was, if you're, like, honestly, what happened was Bo Welch didn't direct anything before this. Mm-hmm. He was a production designer.
Yeah.
So, like, this is his first film. You're dealing with Mike Myers in a movie that Mike doesn't even want to make, that the script writers don't know what to write. They took advantage of him, and they just said, this is what we're doing. And Ron Howard was like, we're not doing this. I'm Ron fucking Howard. Like, I made Apollo 13, assholes. Try me.
Yeah.
This guy's like, I was on Men in Black 2. I know how to create a set. Like, what are you going to tell? Like, so Bo Welch had no balls behind any of this stuff. And I'm pretty sure the Dirty Hojo, Mike Myers advocated to keep that in. He told him it was going to hit. And if you watching it, there's a pause after he does the things he does so the audience members can laugh.
Like a Marvel pause?
Yes. Like, that was really funny. So, like, let's hang on to that moment for a minute. You know?
Let's linger on this so the audience can keep up.
Bad.
So, I want you to guess the budget. Like, do you know what the budget is?
It was like $132 million.
$109 million.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
So it made
for the time, like for this kind of movie.
Yes.
And I think obviously like some of it goes into like marketing and like the actors, but they built basically an entire neighborhood.
Yeah, and
for this film,
like San Paulo or something like that.
Something like they had like all these houses and like they had these hills and like this terrain and all this shit.
There was a city government meeting to get the houses destroyed because they thought that they were going to stay there permanently.
Oh Jesus Christ! I didn't know that.
Dude, this film is raw. Like, it's not just like, oh, it's a bad movie. Like, there's bad choices everywhere.
There's a lot of like just terrible stuff. Like, oh my god. So continuing with the deleted scenes,
yeah,
like there's a scene that's like, I swear, 5 minutes long, and it's of Alec Baldwin in the TV shop. Like, he sees that his TV that was repoed earlier in the movie, he spots it going into this television shop, and then he goes in and he like argues with the manager, like, hey, that's my TV, blah blah blah. And so then like the cat like follows him in there, but like, he's like disguised as this design rug. So basically he looks like he's a rug on the ground, with like his head, like obviously they probably had his head like poking out from the floor because his body's just flat against the ground like a rug. And so then there's like these gags of like the manager comes out and like she's in heels and like she's stomping on him, and then like this whole hockey team comes out for some reason and they like start stomping on him, and then like this fat guy on a pogo stick comes out and like hits him in the back, and then that's when he like finally like freaks out, and then like his head turns a complete 180 facing the back of his body, and he just slides out like he's a practical effect from The Thing. Like, it's kind of a horror movie at that point. Like, it's weird. And then, like, God, there's deleted scenes with, like, Thing 1 and Thing 2 trying to stall Kelly Preston from going back to the house.
You're one hot mama ducka.
Oh, my God. Can we talk about them for a second? Absolute nightmare fuel, those two characters.
Oh, that is funny. Yeah. I gotta, yeah.
Like,
well, and, you know, it's crazy, too, because, like, he kept calling them him. And it's played by a chick.
It's played by two sets of actors. Like, each thing
actresses, right?
Yeah. Like, each thing is played by two different sets of people. So, like, Thing 1 and Thing 2 were played by 4 different people throughout the film. Like, it's crazy.
They were disturbing. I didn't know what they were saying, and
I just hated looking at them. Because in the book, they're like super cartoony. They're like kind of adorable, but they're a little mischievous. In this one, they're like an eldritch horror. Like, it's super off-putting.
I mean, I guess I got it really quick because one of the more interesting reviews that I read about it was the cat was chaotic evil. And this person went into great detail to explain how the cat is an evil deity and the things actually play as demons. And it was like, he goes into how he tells the guy he's going to kill him in front of the kid, so it shows that he's got like no empathy. He's a sociopath. He won't want to stop at anything, right? And then he insults the guy, which they said it was like the three insult rule or the 3C rule. You ever heard of that?
No.
He called him like stupid, ugly, and fat, and then he brought his mom into it. So they're going. He ties in that scene, right? He's like, then he's at 3 places at once. So obviously he doesn't abide by the rules of our reality. So he's got to be here from a different world, right?
They even say he's like from a different dimension in the movie.
Yeah. And then they go into about how he is like manipulating certain things, like manipulating certain times.
He's kind of like omniscient in the way that he planned out the entire day.
Yes. And then he said you have Thing 1 and Thing 2 that if you were to view like Lucifer or the contract, he's like, the kids don't understand the what they're agreeing to. They don't know.
It's like an Adam and Eve allegory.
And he was like, and then you got Thing 1 and Thing 2 that played these demons.
Oh my dude, they looked like demons.
And he goes, and the physical representation of it was when they slid into the party, sliding into hell with Paris Hilton's there. And I was like, I don't know if this guy's like spot on or if these guys, like the writers, like intended for this because they were so pissed about having to be part of this like act again.
It's fun to think about.
Oh my God. And then the end of it though, it comes back too. So I was like, well, you can't hold on to it forever because even Lucifer didn't have a heart.
Right. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry. I just had to say that. It was like one of the best like reviews that I read, and I was like, oh
I like
God.
that. I like that interpretation quite a bit.
Yeah, it was great and watching it, I was trying to like, all right, does this hold water? Like,
my next recommendation, we'll watch this again from that point of view. Oh, it'll be great.
It won't because you get to the point at the end where it falls apart. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
It really,
like, the last 10 minutes really throw that theory out the window.
If that doesn't happen and there's a different way that this thing ends, I would be all about it.
Right. I wanted to touch on this joke too. I have it in my notes. It's the.
Oh yeah, go ahead. I got notes too.
It's him on the ceiling when Alec Baldwin comes into the house, scratching his ass hair so that it falls on Alec Baldwin and he has a sneezing fit and leaves. So, what a piece of imagery that is. just Mike Myers as a cat, just ass scratching to hell, and then all this fur comes down and Alec Baldwin sneezing.
Dude, what's funny? What could we? What could we?
Oh my goodness! And there's also I want to make sure we talk. Like, don't forget about this. Like Mrs. Chang,
absolutely useless.
Like,
absolutely, there was no she.
Well, the joke with her is that she's Asian, she's fat, and she's old. Like, that's the joke with her, and she sleeps a lot.
Like, it's just
like
she served no purpose to the plot whatsoever.
She was literally an object in the movie.
Yes, like
literally an object.
I was trying to watch it again. I was like, because in the book they don't get a babysitter, and I'm like,
no, they don't.
Why do you need one in this?
Well, in the book there's the fish, I guess, which is supposed to be like the sort of voice of reason in the book.
Yeah.
Whereas in this movie, it's like they just made the fish like a neurotic kind of like.
He had like 5 lines.
Tight ass. Yeah. He wasn't like as much of a presence in the movie as I remember, which is weird because he's on the poster.
Agreed.
With the cat. Like, he and the cat are the only 2 characters on the poster.
Well, because you got it. If you see it, you go, oh, remember the fish and the cat and the hat?
Yeah,
you gotta
and
go
he
see.
really
what do you like about that?
He really doesn't play much of a role in the movie. Like, he's not integral to like the plot. He's just there to like be a foil to the cat. You know, he's just there to be a tight ass the entire time.
And he didn't even serve. We don't have to really talk about this plot sucking because there wasn't anything good about it.
Well, I mean, what plot? It was just like them running around so that Mike Myers could make a bunch of jokes.
Really weird, inappropriate jokes that teeter between like because maybe that's where edgy comes from, because they teeter between like we're gonna keep it light, but there's gonna be a little bit of a punch behind it.
Yeah. I love that new ball smell.
Yeah. 18. So I got 18 minutes in. 18 minutes in was the first sex joke. 18 minutes into this film, there's still an exposition.
I don't think the cat was introduced yet at that point, was it?
18 minutes in, it was right away. It was
okay.
Yeah. It's like this movie is only 83 or 86 minutes long.
It's short. Yeah.
It does not feel that way.
It's like an hour 20 something.
I paused it 4 times last night and I was like, how much more of this is left?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is like you talk about like a series of vignettes. It was like, hey, like that DVD.
It was just a series of like non sequiturs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the DVD, the scene selection, I have to imagine it's at 50.
I should have checked. Like, I should have counted.
Right?
I had the chance. Damn it.
Kelly Preston cleavage everywhere.
Yep. That pointer that I brought up.
Yeah. Like, it was insane how much she was just leaning. They had her leaning over at points.
Yeah. Like it's crazy how sexualized they made her.
Unnecessary. Like, her bot, that whole.
Oh, Mr. Humberflube.
Oh, my God. Fired. Sort of no. Anyways,
he was also the voice of the fish. I don't know if you knew that.
No, I didn't. I thought it was Martin Short.
No,
but that makes sense because he's got kind of that voice, you know. So that
he played 2 neurotic, worried characters in this movie.
Yeah, that poor guy.
He got typecast twice. In the same film.
Bo Welch at it again. My man knows how to do it.
Bravo, Bo.
He hit the kids twice.
He hits them? I don't remember that.
Yeah, with his tail. He whaps them twice. Well, I mean, he hits Sally, and then later in the film he hits Conrad with his tail. It's supposed to be funny, but it's a grown person striking a child. Cross-dressing and shaking butt towards the kids. They had to cover his butt with coconuts. They had to cover his tits with coconuts.
Yeah.
He's doing a dance. I mean, that isn't like that bad, but when you're talking kind of like big themes and probably what 9-year-olds don't need to be thinking about.
Goodness gracious.
28 minutes, we blatantly make fun of mechanics and playing the South and penis joke.
Yeah. Oh my God. That tow truck outfit.
So bad. He rhymes when he said he can't rhyme. Mortality keep getting brought up. Production design is good.
Mortality.
Seriously, they brought up death. He goes murder, killing, and like I can end him. Like he was gonna kill the guy in the what does he say? I'll bloody make it look like an accident. You don't shut up.
Oh yeah.
He wants to kill Alec or murder as a third option.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was another one where with the dog, which was kind of funny.
He kept wanting to kill the dog.
Yeah, which was kind of funny though. As being a cat, like.
I want to touch on the chef scene real quick when he like cuts his tail off and he looks at the camera and he goes, "Son of a bitch," and then it like cuts to the "Hang in there, baby" poster.
Yeah,
that's the one scene I remember from the first time I ever watched it. Yeah, that's the one because it stuck out to me as a kid.
Right.
Because I'm like, you can't say bitch in a PG movie, but like obviously as a kid, like they teetered on that line.
Right.
And I was like, I could still like tell like what he wanted to say. Which is weird for like a kid's movie again. Like I don't know. It's just funny that that's like the one scene that stuck out to me as a kid, like that I remembered, because I didn't remember much else from this movie.
I could see that being it though. That's right. I would have guessed it would have been that or any one of the numerous times where they cut it.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't think any of the overtones you'd get as a kid. You're definitely not paying attention to the sex jokes.
There's so much stuff that like flew over my head.
Yeah.
When I was young.
I mean, like, it's pretty. I didn't see this in 2003 because I was 13 and this looked really lame. I hated the Grinch. So, I mean, I'm like a cartoon guy. Grinch came out. I didn't think Jim Carrey was funny in it. So when this came out, I was like, could care less about that. About the Cat in the Hat.
Yeah, you were a little older too at that point, so.
Well, yeah, you're the target. You should have been the target market.
I should have been.
Like that should have been you, not your dad. Like, you should have been the target market, or me, like as 13, maybe kind of getting a couple of some funny jokes in there.
Yeah,
like a little
more
bit
of the raunchy humor.
Yeah, like you're kind of they barf jokes, farting jokes. Pooping jokes,
hitting the balls jokes,
like
cross-dressing jokes.
They literally
fat babysitter jokes.
Yeah, that was
ball jokes.
They made fun of Taiwanese parliament, which I guess that was actually
that was fucking bizarre.
That was a real event too, by the way. That actually happened.
I could tell it was like a real thing.
Yeah,
because it looked like it.
Yeah,
it looked like an actual historical event for that country.
And it was kind of funny, like the line that she delivers, but no one's gonna get that when you're 10.
Yeah,
I remember that scene. I didn't remember what she said. I just remember that they were fighting because I thought it was kind of odd that she watched that and then immediately passed out and never woke up for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, whatever. What else? They blatantly plug in product placement with Universal. They stopped the film to have him tell you that you can buy tickets.
Oh yeah, they literally have him like face the camera.
Yeah,
and like freeze the frame of what's going on and be like, "Oh, you can get your passes for Universal today." And then they keep going. It's like, wow, this is some shit that I would see in like Deadpool or something.
It's so, dude. He breaks the fourth wall, so he becomes an unreliable narrator. So I guess honestly, like actually, now that I think about it, that ending could be a false ending, and that he paints it that way to.
Oh yeah,
protect
he's narrating the ending.
Yeah, he narrates the whole film, and he breaks the fourth wall. So you know that we know that he's being observed.
Mm-hmm.
So he can tell us whatever he wants if it's his film.
Yeah. He's in complete control. Who knows what actually took place in this fictional story?
It's so bad.
I want to talk about the special features a little bit more.
Yeah, go ahead.
So
we're talking more about that than honestly though, I don't know what we could talk about this film. I mean, it was 86 minutes of shit.
We'll get back to it because I do have like some like kind of positive points.
Really?
A little bit, yeah.
All right, I'll see if you can spin it.
I had fun with this movie, I will say.
Yeah, like, you enjoyed it with someone. I wish you fucking would have watched it by yourself, and then you could have sat there and scratched your head the whole time.
Scratched my head like he was scratching his ass hair at Alec Baldwin.
No real reason whatsoever.
So the special features aren't like anything super special. Unlike what the name gives.
All right, you got me sold.
It's a lot of like just the typical like talking heads like telling you about like the costuming and like the set designs and
probably
like,
would have been fun.
They have like a segment on like the original book. There's a section that is dedicated to dance, like learning the Cat in the Hat dance, which I feel like we don't even see in the movie.
But
like
not even that one.
Like it's him doing like these steps, like these side steps and like swinging his arms and stuff. And it's like a video of him doing the dance. And then it cuts to like, it's very much like for children.
Yeah.
Where it's like, now practice with the music. Like, it's very much like very kiddie. Like, they have little kids doing the dance.
Yeah.
What's funny to me is that they have the Cat in the Hat with his back turned to the camera, so you know sure as shit that Mike Myers is not in that costume while filming those dance moves.
Hell no.
They had to get some other poor bastard to be in that costume and do those dances for those kids.
Human hair, bro.
Mike Myers was probably approached, hey, Mike, can you do just one last thing for us before we wrap up filming? And he's like, what is that? And he was like, well, we would really appreciate it if you took the time and helped film these dance sequences for this special feature that's going to be on the DVD. He's like, fuck that. And then that was the last time they ever saw him.
Oh, 100%, dude. He in and out.
Yeah.
In and out.
So then, like, there's all these dances where, like, he's practicing and, like, you know, the kids follow. But then, like, at the end, there's, like, a whole, like, group dance that they do. And the kids are facing the camera, but the Cat in the Hat is facing the kids. And it's really weird.
Yeah,
it's
because
really
they're like, we're not going to
off-putting.
show Mike.
And, like, he'll do spins, but every time he does a spin, it, like, cuts to an above shot where, like, it looks from the sky to the ground where they're at so that you don't see his face. Like, every single time it does it.
They did the best they could.
They did the best they could.
Like, Mike's not going to do it. He didn't sign up for it. Did Mike participate as a talking head?
No.
Yeah,
No.
not shocked.
Well, actually, no. He did a little bit, but you could kind of tell that, like, they probably had to, like, pick and choose what he talked about and, like, what he wanted to say about the movie as far as, like, the filming experience.
How did he become a giant asshole? Like, I don't remember. It's so funny. One, I didn't remember that that ended his career. That's how much I beloved him. Was like, oh no, that didn't end it. He did a lot more after that. No.
Well, he did Shrek, the Shrek sequels, and then Love Guru, right? And he was in Inglourious Bastards for like a second.
Yeah.
And then that was pretty much it, right?
But I'm saying, like, when you think of Mike Myers, like, don't you feel like his, like, acting career is, like, large, like, very, you know...
Well, he's a beloved, like, character actor. You know, there's Austin Powers and Wayne's World, like, all of his SNL stuff.
That's all right. So that's all I'm saying is, like, you've got Shrek, you don't even see him. You've got Austin Powers, and you've got two Wayne's World films.
Yeah.
Like, that's all of Mike Myers that anyone should really know about. But yeah, it feels like he's been around in our homes for, you know, since the 80s. Mm-hmm. I mean, in SNL, like, I get that helped with his career, but I can't believe, like, he's a fucking douche.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not surprising. Hollywood people are assholes
Wow,
a lot of
look at
times.
you, pretentious.
Oh, yeah, I know. Well, it's not surprising that someone from Hollywood is a pretentious douchebag.
So, like, you got... That was one... Did you do the dance with the Cat in the Hat?
No, I didn't want to start sweating in front of my friend Drew.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to embarrass myself in front of him. Nor did he in front of me.
No one was like, hey, like, let's do the cat dance.
Yeah. We just ended up, like, after watching all the special features, we just watched all these, like, shitty movie trailers that Stephen Baldwin was in. Like, he's in a lot of shitty movies. Like, movies that you've never even fucking heard of. I guarantee.
I know. Like, I straight to VHS.
Bottom of the... Like, not even that, dude. It's, like, lost in, like, a shitty, like, VOD, like, streaming service that you've never heard of somewhere, probably. Like, it's shovelware.
Like,
it's
like
bad.
Getting, like, making like $20,000.
Yeah, like, the trailers that come out, the official trailers for those movies are, like, in, like, 144p, looks like it was filmed on a potato, and you can't tell what the hell's happening, and it's just like this generic ass voiceover trailer. Anyway, that was my Stephen Baldwin tangent.
Yeah, rest in peace, Steve.
I don't think he's dead.
Shout out for listening. His career is after that.
Oof.
Actually, no, it's not, because I could have said this 15 years ago.
He's in a lot of, like, religious movies.
Good on him.
Like Rapture stuff.
Oh, like The World's Ending?
Kind of, but it's more preachy.
So. Do you think he hung out with Randy Quaid at all?
I don't know about Randy Quaid. Maybe Kirk Cameron. I don't know
about Kirk Cameron.
Oh, he's like an actor who, like, became an evangelical / actor. So he's in, like, a bunch of religious movies. Anyway.
Yeah, sure.
Speaking of religion. Yeah. Cat in the Hat is my religion.
Oh, dude, you haven't seen... have you ever seen Funny Games?
No. Is that by Michael Haneke? Or is that something else?
No, but Funny Games, it just... Speaking of unreliable narrators and breaking the fourth wall, like it actually just clicked into...
I'm looking up Funny Games right now.
There's two of them. They did.
Yeah, Michael Haneke.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
There's one that he did... I think I remember researching this before. There's
did
one
you
that
do
he
the
did
one with
that was
Naomi?
like... I haven't watched it.
You haven't seen either of them?
No, I haven't seen either.
Okay.
I think I'm going to eventually, but
I might hold off on assigning it.
Okay.
It just popped into my head, so I didn't. I was thinking about the fourth wall and that and anyways.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So this movie, where I kind of like it, is just the sheer energy and like chaos that Mike Myers has in the film.
Chaotic evilness.
Like it's batshit at points, just how crazy he is. Like he's putting in a lot of energy for this stupid ass Cat in the Hat character, and I kind of respect it a little bit, weirdly enough. Like I don't think I could ever do that, wear like this hot ass cat costume with like real human hair in like 90-degree like conditions and like be as bombastic as he is in this movie. Like you can't help but admit that like he has a lot of energy.
He does.
He puts in a lot for the character.
Was like the problem I had with this is like, oh, like this. There's two characters that people kept referencing, and for me, I was like, this just feels like he's pulling Austin Powers back out of the bag. It was like, I'm gonna channel that.
Yeah, that's the issue. That's where the issue lies. Is that like it feels like an excuse for him to like be that sort of character.
Yeah, and that's where no, I mean, I'm not gonna. After some of the reading I did on him, dude, I just have a really hard time being like, oh yeah, he got a lot of my respect for this thing.
Right.
Like it really feel like he did all this stuff. He knew he wanted to keep the bad jokes in out of spite for getting sued by Universal and Imagine. And he was like, I'll do your fucking film, sure, I'll do it. Yeah, okay, let's go. And then he took Bo Welch, who's a first-time director, and was just like, this is what we're doing. He had a lot of direction over the film that people won't admit about. But like if you do some of the reading, there's a lot of behind the scenes takes with people that were helping out on set that said he had a lot of like, okay, great shot. Like, Bo, come over here with me for a minute. And then they would do some reshoots. So I don't even know if he delivered. I'm sorry. I can't. It felt like Austin Powers, and he was just doing what was on the script.
Well, he did what he was supposed to do. It's just that what he was supposed to do was shitty and bad.
That's what I'm saying. Like, even if you, like, here's my point. Like, okay, you got, he comes out, and you're like, man, like, he fucking, like, imagine the energy. Imagine it if he wanted to do it.
No, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, you're getting like a toned down, like pissed off Mike Myers. Like, he just pulled a character that he already knew, put it in a cat, and was like, I'm only gonna do the scenes like this, you know. So, shit, I just had a thought too. I can't even remember what I was gonna say.
Well, maybe it'll come back.
Nah, maybe.
So we've mentioned it before. Emmanuel Lubezki, the cinematographer for this film.
Oh yeah, here's your stuff.
Has worked on such films as Children of Men, The Revenant, Birdman, Tree of Life, and Gravity. And all
the Inarritu films, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Which are very well known for their really spectacular cinematography.
How about this? The cinematography in this was great, wasn't it?
It wasn't terrible, I guess. Like it was. It functioned. It served its purpose. Like I wouldn't say that. Like I don't know, dude.
It did not. I'm joking. Like it was god awful. There was one thing I read that I think there's a total of 5 minutes with all three characters on screen at the same time.
Well, that and like there's so many like weird, gross angles of like, for example, when Alec Baldwin's like taking off his girdle and like the fat.
Yeah, and
just comes out and like they do it from like a below angle. It's just so ugly looking.
Distasteful. None of this was like it really like I don't know, man. Like, Bo got one take and was like, hey, do you want it from here? I was like, nah, we're good.
Yeah, I'm wondering how much like control Emmanuel Lubezki had.
I'm wondering how he got roped into this goddamn thing. Like, that's what
you've got to start somewhere. All those movies I listed came out after The Cat in the Hat.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't think anyone was like, man, that Cat movie was like bomb. like, let's get that guy to film.
That Cat movie, though, it looked... Boy, oh boy, say what you will, but the visuals.
Fucking dope. Did you see that cat? God, you gotta love it when he goes up, like when he films him on the ceiling. Like, how hard is that?
You gotta love it when the shot's between his legs and his tail's just a wriggling. Can't get enough of it.
He had to have known someone, or someone called in a favor to have him do that. Like, that's the only thing I could think of.
It's just so weird to like have that on your resume. You know, you have The Revenant, Birdman, and Tree of Life and Children of Men, movies that are like so cinematically beautiful.
Well,
then you've got this fucking thing.
Well, I'm saying, like, it's like, and I hate to, like, you got to think about it. It's like you call in the closer, you know, and I don't want to do sport ball because I can see you looking at me, eyes going or white already. Yeah, but I'm saying, like, you bring someone in, right? And it's like, it's a pit stop for that dude, but like someone obviously made the call to say, like, please save this film, or like, I want to know his story. That's why I wanted to know the Seinfeld guys. Like, they got roped in because they rewrote The Grinch, and somehow Grazer must have been like, we want you guys to write this one. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know.
Oh, man.
This movie. Oh, my God. There's so many, like, how did this get made? I wanted to find that, listen to that, or see what they had to say about it. Mm-hmm. I was like, I feel like there's a lot more dirt out there and information that we just don't know about, that Mike Myers and someone will have to the grave. Mm. But, like, yeah, the cinema...
It's it's a mystery.
Bo Welch, I think, got nominated for production design stuff, too. Like, he helped out with Tim Burton, and he helped out in Men in like Edward Scissorhands, and one other Tim Burton one. I forgot to tell you, the guy that was going to write the original script to this movie, Eric Roth.
Who's that?
He wrote... He's been nominated 6 times for Academy Awards, won 1 for Forrest Gump.
Oh.
Yeah, 6-time Academy Award nominating screenwriter. Wrote the original, and they said, not good enough. Bring in the fucking clowns.
It's kind of like when Charlie Kaufman was attached to write Chaos Walking at one point.
Oh, is that with
Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley?
Yeah.
But they like did so many rewrites and like basically shoved him aside to the point where he's not even credited on the movie anymore for Chaos Walking. Like, it's,
and you probably,
it's like he might as well not even have like done anything, because like you watch that movie and it's like, I can't even, if you told me Charlie Kaufman wrote this, I wouldn't believe you. Like, he's so much better than that. Do you have any more notes on
oh yeah, I came up with a new drinking game.
What's that?
Anytime that he goes, oh yeah, or he laughs, like,
you'd be dead, dude. Do you know how many fucking times he laughs after he says something? It's like Tommy Wiseau in The Room.
Every time.
When he does the ah, ha, ha, ha.
I thought it ended a scene. It was like the end, like, you know, like, hey, we're transitioning to the next scene. I thought that's what that laugh was for.
Mm-hmm. Like, he says some shit like, dirty hoe, I'm sorry, baby, I love you.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's like an effort to like make the audience laugh with him if like a joke doesn't land, but then he laughs and then you're like, oh, I guess that was funny.
Oh, it's what he did in Austin Powers. He ended every joke in Austin Powers like that. Like, that's how he talked in that whole...
Yeah.
Put him side by side. Like, I'm pretty sure he just took that character and mailed it in.
He took that character and like turned it into the Cat in the Hat.
Yes, exactly. But it was like, all right, I'm going to be talking to like, instead, I'm going to be talking to 13-year-old Austin Powers as opposed to 30-year-old Austin Powers.
Yeah. It's like you took the Cat in the Hat and you like skinned him, and Austin Powers weared his skin. Like, that's what it's like.
That's visual. Do you think, and I wish I kind of would have saw this now at 13, do you think the ages of 13 to like 17 like this movie from that time? Really
immature 13-year-olds probably. 17-year-olds, I can't.
You think they're above it?
Because 17-year-olds would either see this movie and they would think, this is so boring and stupid. Like, it's so like for kids that I don't want to watch this, or they'll think this is so like trying too hard to be funny. I don't want to watch this.
Right.
Like it goes one of two ways.
Both negative.
Yeah. 13-year-olds, I could see possibly liking this film just because of like the dirty jokes and like the raunchiness of it. Like, I feel like someone who really loves Family Guy and is a freshman in high school would really like the Cat in the Hat movie. Like, just in my personal opinion.
I mean, I could definitely see that because it's everywhere. It's kind of like random humor, but
right, like it's a lot of, like I said earlier, non sequiturs, like just him doing shit for the sake of doing shit.
But it's Family Guy at least ties in a little bit more of a purpose or a little bit more of a pull than just getting kicked in the balls. Like, unless Easy Like a Sunday Morning gets referenced to something that I don't know.
I'm still trying to figure that one out.
It's just like happened and he's swinging and I was like, oh, that's kind of like.
And then like the next scene, he's got the bat and he's like gonna hit the kid with it.
Apparently that's a meme.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I see it pop up all the time.
I almost memed this fucking show and I put Kyle, the Cat in the Hat, and Mac.
You're Beans, you're the kid, and then I'm
you're the cat.
I'm the cat, and then the bat is the cat in the hat.
That's why I almost did that. And I was like, I'm gonna send this his way.
Oh, you should have. That would have been so funny.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. Dude, I was researching so much on this. I got so involved when I found out Mike Myers was going to direct this film called Sprockets, and he canceled. He goes, I need 2 more months of writing or else I'm not making it. And the studio paid him like money before, like $2 million or $10 million beforehand to get the script. And at that point, I was like, what is going on in this thing? And then you find out Bo Welch was going to direct that, and then he's tied to this. So I'm like,
it's got a weird fucking history, this movie.
And the cinematographer, the dude that, I mean, you know, I don't want to. That cinematographer being in this, I'd love to see. Do you think he just like smoked like grits or just like sit around there like, all right, what's his name?
Emmanuel Lubezki.
It's like, all right, Emmanuel, come in for the shot, and he just like sitting there and he starts like swearing at them in Spanish, you know, like. Because he's like, I'm fucking above this. You know, like, are you kidding me? Like, and then Bo's like, great, Emmanuel. That's awesome. I really love that. He's like, and just, you know, fucking, all right, there you go.
This is great. This is great. This is really great.
Emmanuel, this is so great. Yes. Oh, wow. That wasn't that good. This is great.
This is great.
I really want that. Oh, we'll talk about it after we get done with it.
Okay. For later. So, I guess we can wrap up our discussion on this.
Unless you got more, I had the one drinking game. I thought that was really funny. I'm like an 86-minute film, and you want to see your friends go through a fifth of vodka.
I don't think I do, man. I think, I mean, special effects didn't look great. The fish looked awful. Cinematography is weird. The jokes were weird and bad and just dirty for no reason.
Like it. Like childish dirty, like it wasn't like, if you think about the jokes that we tell now, like that stuff isn't that bad, but for that age group, that is awful.
Oh, look, you got hit in the balls.
You had a barf bag, dude. It was so bad that the Widow Seuss said, no one's ever making a Dr. Seuss film again.
Yeah. After this movie came out, Dr. Seuss's widow disallowed them to make any more live action Dr. Seuss films. Which is why you have the Illumination animated films, like the animated Grinch film, Horton Hears a Who, the Lorax, like all that stuff. That's why you have that now, is because of this movie. And they wanted to make a sequel to this.
Oh yeah, they had it. They were going to do the second book, The Return of the Cat in the Hat. Or the Cat in the Hat is back.
Yeah. They were gonna do a sequel to this. Like,
Brian, that producer was like, "This is gonna be so kick ass.
Yeah,
we need to make the second one."
People love the Grinch. They're gonna eat this shit up.
I can't wait till. Oh my god! I really. There needs to be. We should just go to Hollywood and just do try to get some talking heads and be like, what happened? How?
I would like like an honest documentary.
Yes.
Give us the same thing that Star Wars Phantom Menace got with this movie.
My God, it would be, dude. And Dr. Seuss. So she didn't want to release the books to be made into films. And I don't know the state she finally allowed for it, but her demands were pretty whoa. Like for this, she got 50% of the marketing.
Oh wow.
Yeah, our merchandising. She got a bunch of cuts out of this. I was like, you guys want to do it? And I think they were like, man. there's 4 dozen Seuss books out there. Like, imagine if these hit, you know? And they got 2 of them. And one, it really should have never happened if Ron Howard lets some of the jokes in the first one stay.
Right.
Like, the only reason is because Grinch did well, and they teeter the line without going over it.
Yeah.
And then
this movie just falls so flat.
Oh my God.
It just drops the ball, the tennis balls, you could say.
I didn't even, was that like a ball joke? Like he was like, I love the smell of fresh balls. Like I got a shower
I mean,
joke?
why else would he say that?
I don't know.
Why else would he say
Why else? I don't know half the shit he was saying.
When playing tennis, nobody says, I love that new ball smell. Like nobody on earth has said that while playing tennis.
2 barf bag jokes. 2 of them. There was 2 barf bag jokes.
Jesus Christ.
Fresh ball. I mean, this thing, and the problem is it's so bad with this humor is like we're only picking out like the big stuff. There's more bad to it.
Oh yeah, there's so much. There's so many like different things in here, like
Sally seeing her friends and being like, man, I wish I were here. And it's like, well, you shouldn't be a control freak, but like kind of gets addressed.
Yeah, and then there's like the whole military school thing with Conrad and Alec Baldwin. Like, there's all that stuff, and how he basically just wants to bone the mom the entire time.
Thing 1 and thing 2, we're gonna try to bone the mom, and then Alec Baldwin stole the cop motorcycle.
Yeah,
he stole that motorcycle to prove that there was a cat in the hat. So he's risking like going to jail for probably years for theft.
Oh yeah,
of a police vehicle to prove that there's a cat.
And then he just gets covered in this like purple goop at the end.
Like they were like, hey, like we got some adult entertainment in here. Let's get some Nickelodeon stuff going.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought of. As soon as he got gooped on, I'm like, that looks like Nickelodeon slime, just purple.
Yeah.
Like it's so
stupid.
So stupid. It's really stupid. This movie is probably one of the dumbest movies I've seen in a long time. Like, honest to God. It's so stupid.
It is, but it's got Mike Myers, who's at the height of his career, a guy that directed or that was a cinematographer for 5 Academy Award nominated films.
Yeah.
Seinfeld, 3 Seinfeld writers which could be argued the greatest sitcom of all time.
How did this go wrong?
I'm like and Alec Baldwin isn't a slouch. Like
no,
like, it wasn't like, boy, it's just
they made him like this lazy like piece of shit guy, and it's like it's Alec Baldwin.
We had to have an antagonist in here, so it's going to be Baldwin.
I guess.
Like
yeah.
that's it. Like that's all we have to attach something to. So I have military school, and he'll steal beer and watch. Chicks. There was someone tried to make the argument that he was watching strippers on his TV when it got repossessed, and he's like, you can hear him moaning. And
God.
They were kind of doing like some erotic dancing, like, but they were covered up, but they were moaning when they grabbed the TV from him.
Ugh, Jesus.
Yeah, I was like, yes. And then you got Universal and Brian Grazer produced Apollo 13, by the way.
Okay. Interesting.
Oh yeah, it kind of just a little interesting. Like,
yeah, he's got so many ties to like all the different facets of this film.
This movie is like, when you think about all the names that go into it, and Eric Roth was attached to it, by the way, nominated for 6 Academy Awards, won 1 for Forrest Gump. A lot of people that know good film were in this thing, or attached to it somehow, some way, and that's what happened. That's why I want to know what
went wrong.
Someone please
tell me.
Tell me where's the documentary at, please.
I guess we can wrap this up.
Oh, okay.
What?
Oh, really? Oh, good. I guess I could sit here screaming more about.
What would you rate this movie?
You go first, because I got to look at. I did a genuine.
Okay.
I did a genuine, like, when I saw this with Preston, I'm pretty sure I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was like, I've never. I think this is a 3 out of 10.
Okay.
But it could be worse.
I think I have this as a 4 out of 10. I got enjoyment out of it, but not the enjoyment that they wanted me to get. Like it's very not good. It's very stupid.
Very not good. Yeah, no, it's a bad. It's like The Room bad. Like
oh yeah.
oh yeah,
Cupcakes. Oh yeah. He says it so loud in the movie.
he did it.
Like it's kind of a horror film sometimes.
He does it. It like started out where it was kind of like he did it like once or twice, and then by the end of it, every scene ended with him doing like that was his tagline.
Either the oh yeah or him going bah!
Yeah, like that's when he does his like weird like I've just made a silly joke. Everyone's gonna laugh at me. It's kind of fucking Myers. That's when it came up with the drinking game. Was like when I got to that point, I was like, this reminds me of like the Big Lebowski when he says "dude." Like you've gotten to that point where it's happened enough. I'm consciously thinking about it. Probably not intended.
No,
I don't know. So no, I had a 3 out of 10. That was saw it that one time, and I don't dip like.
You don't really dip that far usually.
3 is a 0 for me. I wish I could do a rating scale out of like 8. But yeah, like I think I got a couple 1s and 2s in there. This one maybe holds a little bit more weight just because I can walk down the street and have a conversation with someone about how shitty this film is.
Based on my experience and like the type of enjoyment I got out of it, I give it a 4 out of 10.
Yeah, you're giving it the one bump because you laughed.
I give it the one bump because I had a fun time.
Yeah, I'm glad you had your friend with you. Then you get to enjoy yourself. I watched it.
If he wasn't with me, if I had to watch this by myself, I'd probably give it a 3.
Yeah,
maybe even a 2. But I can't because it's so fucking stupid that I just couldn't help but laugh.
I will say the history behind this and going through and finding out how many successful people were attached to it and how Mike Myers got roped in. I thought he just accepted that. Like Sam said, like this ended his career. And it was like when he said that, I was like, oh, he accepted this role, thought it would be good. The writing was bad because they had a first-time writer doing like no. All this stuff attached to it and how this thing got made was insane.
The history is very striking, that's for sure. Speaking of striking, we've got some striking questions.
Oh my god, dude! See, I keep not ready for them again, so bear with my mind.
That's okay. I haven't looked at these in a while. Like we got these probably like 4 weeks ago.
Oh, I bet you when we were gonna do it with Sam, I think Justin mentioned something because I think Justin might. I don't know if he did or didn't, but he did bring it up.
Well, we answered some questions that were for the Sam podcast already, but I made another thread, so we have some more questions. Okay. Not a whole lot, but
sure,
we can go through these pretty quick.
A couple of them work.
So Sam asks, movie you hated first time watching, but since grown to love.
You go first, because I have no idea.
I would probably say the first thing that comes to my mind is Christmas Story. I really didn't like the Christmas Story at all as a kid. Like I thought it was, I thought it was pretty dumb, and like I didn't like how just kind of raunchy it was. But, and I wouldn't say I love the movie, but like as I've gotten older, I kind of like it a little bit. Like it's, I don't know, it's like a traditional thing, I guess, because they play it every year on TBS and TNT. Like it's stupid, but I kind of enjoy like the character dynamics and like the some of the gags that happen, like the visual gags, like him in the bunny suit and like the tongue on the frozen pole, like that stuff. I don't know. I kind of have a soft spot for it. I kind of have a soft spot for it in that way. So that would be my first answer.
That's the one that comes like right off the top of your head. I don't know. It sucks too.
Yeah, but it's weird because like I wouldn't say I love the movie. Like it's definitely flawed, but I mean, like you watch that and you're like, man, this is a bad movie, and then all of a sudden you're talking about it and you're like, oh, like that's pretty good. I would say like
maybe not pretty good, but
yeah, it's like enjoyable in certain aspects.
Dude, I have no idea because I well, and I'm sure there's been some movies where I'm like, man, I can't get behind that, and then you watch it a couple years later, you get a little bit more in depth with it. But like a lot of the problem with me is I saw some like older films when I was at a younger age, so I really just couldn't get behind them right away. I guess The Big Lebowski might be one.
Okay. Interesting. I'm looking through my letterbox right now, seeing if I can. I
know that's what I'm doing too. I mean, I wish it was kind of like, hey, thanks, Sam.
I guess for me, wasn't too big into Inglourious Bastards. Like, I wouldn't say I hated it when I first saw it, but I definitely didn't connect with it
right
when I first viewed it. But now I think it's like really good. Like, definitely top tier Quentin Tarantino film. I mean, there's not a whole lot that's from him. But
yeah, I mean, you can't go.
I really enjoy it, and I really enjoy the way that it tells the story. I think it's really good.
Just going through all these films, I don't know.
Well, it's hard because I guess usually if you see a movie and you hate it, there's not a whole lot that it can do on a rewatch to make you like it or even love it.
You know what? Actually, I'm gonna take that back. I'll go with this one because I know one Blade Runner 2049, 100%.
I was thinking that for you.
100%. I just when you were kind of saying I didn't hate it. It's just because on the first watch. Now, so he says, "Hey, I can't ever get behind. Like, I don't really." And maybe I do. Maybe he'll fucking call me out for something. But I don't like hate a lot of films. Like, there's a lot of times I get out of it and I was like, didn't enjoy it, didn't like it. But sometimes with the characters or the storyline, if something gets missed, it's easy to kind of pivot back and watch it in a new lens and appreciate it more. And I think 2049 was 100% that way. In terms of like walking into a movie and then walking out and being like, that was the biggest waste of time ever. I don't think I have that, you know. Mm-hmm. The Cat in the Hat had potential for it. And it did not fail.
Yeah. I don't rewatch a lot of movies. That's my issue.
I was about to say, that's where, and I do. But, like,
yeah,
most of the time it's just, I every once in a while I'll go back to a movie where it was like, you got that wrong, Mac. You got to check that out again. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I'll go, okay, you know, I'll look at it, but you know, depending on your how you propose it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I really don't have much. Yeah,
we'll just leave it at that. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I don't. Mm-hmm. And I've gone through I've gone through 400 films so far, and I'm not getting to. Like, once you get to the sevens, it's like that wasn't a hate film.
It's weird because I think if you hate a movie, like I said before, there's not much that a movie can do to make you love it. You know, like if I watch something and hate it, like, it's such a strong visceral word that I don't think that there's any chance of me ever liking it, let alone loving it.
Yes. Agreed.
His next question is, what's the most wrong you've been about a movie? Now, this question is interesting because I'm not sure what it means exactly. Like, wrong in terms of like there was a fact about the movie that I thought was true that turned out to not be true. Like, what do you think he means by the question? Or like,
I think he's proposing in a way that it can be interpreted in multiple ways. So wrong could be what we just talked about. You were wrong about your affection for a movie. Wrong about you said that there was a movie that was going to be trash and it ended up being really good. Wrong that you said no one's going to like this film and then it ends up being like a pop hit.
Yeah.
You know, I bet you there were a lot of people that you could say were wrong about The Big Lebowski. You know, it's got a little bit of a cult following with it, you know, and I don't know if that necessarily makes it right.
I guess what comes to mind is, and this is more just like a personal thing, not necessarily like me projecting onto other people or like their opinions, but I guess I was wrong about like how I would feel about The Green Knight. Like, I thought I would enjoy The Green Knight a lot more than I actually did. And so when I went and saw it, it was kind of a letdown. Oh, yeah. So I guess in that sense, I was wrong. But that was more so just, I guess, my expectations for the film, what I thought it would be versus what I actually got.
So, yeah, I was about to say, like, it. I'm just going to do it just because it needs to be done. Well, no, it doesn't need to be done. I won't say it like that. But I watched the movie, getting ready for the wedding 2 weekends ago. Vegas Vacation.
Oh.
And that held a very near and dear place in my heart. Like, my dad showed it to us. It was the only vacation movie that I'd seen.
Really, that one?
Yeah. And it was really funny at the time. Like, I had a Papa DiGiorgio. Like, I call my dad Papa DiGiorgio. I love that name. Hey, you're gonna be Papa DiGiorgio. You're from New Jersey. You got this. Here, kid, saddle up. $10. You get the. And then he wins like 5 cars. But that movie, boy, I was wrong for thinking it was funny.
You just think of yourself as wrong for liking it.
I watched it again and I was like, this could go one of two ways. And I was like, we got to do it. You have so much reverence for this film. And yeah, so check it out and prove me wrong.
I guess another way I can interpret this question is like, I guess I've been wrong in assuming certain people would like certain films or vice versa. Like I showed someone Collateral with Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And I thought that they would enjoy it just purely based off like the philosophical sort of conversation that Jamie Foxx and Tom Cruise have in the film.
Right.
But I guess they really couldn't connect with it. And, you know, other than that in the movie, it's an action thriller and they really don't connect with that genre too much. So I guess I was wrong in that sense, that I thought they would like the film and they really couldn't connect with it too much, you know?
Yeah, that's another good one.
Mm-hmm.
Like a film recommendation that you thought someone would like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have an example of something like that?
That I've recommended to someone. It was like, I could not stomach that.
Yeah.
No, because I throw a lot of stuff out there all the time and tell people they need to watch it. And sometimes I'm like a little calloused in a way. Sometimes it's like I really just liked it and I want to talk to someone, so I'll recommend a film for someone to watch just so I can talk to them about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you think that people will just enjoy it like you did, and then they don't.
Mm-hmm.
And your conversation that turns into a bad movie review, you have an untrusted opinion, and you don't talk about the film.
And then you have to defend why you like it, basically,
or
like why you think it's good.
Sam, you can comment on this when you see this, because I'm sure I've told Sam to check out some films that Sam's like, why?
Well, like it's kind of like the same notion as like I would like people who don't like certain movies that I like to tell me why they don't like it. Because like I'll ask people like, oh, you didn't like this movie? How come? And then they'll be like, oh, I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. Well, tell me why. Give me a reason. Like,
don't just fucking sit there and say you didn't like it.
Like, it's fine if people don't like a movie, but it's like, give me a valid reason of like why you don't like it. Like, you didn't connect with the characters, you didn't like the way it was filmed, you didn't like, I don't know, you didn't like where the story went. Like, what, you know, help me understand your point of view. You know?
No, I agree. And sometimes like, yes, having that conversation. Well, sometimes I know why people don't like it too. It's just like, man, this is kind of like an odd film that I just really appreciate. It's like, you know, like music sometimes, like you hear a really weird song, but it just strikes you kind of. And then you're like, check out this song. And then they can't say like, they don't know why. I don't know music well enough to say like it hurts my ears, but like.
Well, that and it comes down to tastes too.
Yeah.
Like people have different tastes. Obviously, like, you know, some people are going to really love, I'm thinking of ending things, but they're gonna hate a movie like I don't know, Baby Driver or something.
Yeah.
Like two films that I think are really good, but someone could have totally different opinions on either one.
Yep. And it just comes down to like what strikes you or what made you think. So and I'm trying to go through these lists and like look at some of the movies that I've rated and that I've recommended for people to go see. I've got so much up here, and I just tell people to just go check shit out, and I don't even know if it. Sometimes I think it strikes their fancy, and then other times it's just way, way off.
Yeah, if I know the person and I have like a good sense of what their taste is, I can recommend certain movies over others.
Yeah.
Then there's some movies that I know that they wouldn't be into, so I just don't even bother.
Yes.
So there's a little bit of a learning curve sometimes, but once you get the hang of it, you know, you can kind of be better acquainted with that sort of thing.
Right.
Sam's last question is, who is the most overrated actor / actress of all time?
Mike Myers.
Is he overrated though?
100%.
He's not really in much
Dude,
anymore.
Exactly. He hasn't been relevant since 2003, and we still talk about Mike Myers like he's getting ready for another film. Think about it. In 2014, someone could have came up and started talking about Mike Myers, and you would have had to be like, Love Guru? Like, that was it? He hasn't done anything since Shrek? Are you sure?
I guess that's true, in the sense that, like, you think his presence in comedy and film is bigger than it actually is.
He went 2003, Cat in the Hat, to 2008 Love Guru, and since then, Zip. And we still talk about him like he's going to be in something.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked when Sam said that ruined his career. I was like, that was 19 years ago. No, it didn't. Like, I just made a joke about him the other day.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Number one answer for me is The Rock. I think The Rock is super overrated.
He's got no chops.
Like
he's like Arnold.
He plays himself in every single movie, and he just totally plays it safe, and he does the same kind of shit. Like he's a box office guarantee, so that's why they keep making movies with him, and people just love The Rock. But he doesn't do movies that I get anything out of.
Do you think though that people like hype up The Rock, or is it just The Rock's in it because everyone knows The Rock?
I think he's made an image for himself that is movie star. And so people like the fact that he's a hero they can attach themselves to because he's charismatic and he has a screen presence, and that's pretty much all he's got for him. Like he's a showman. He comes from a wrestling background. Like he knows how to play to the camera and play to an audience.
Because like I don't know. Because I wouldn't say like I don't hear enough people go like, man, I gotta go see this because The Rock's in it. So that's why I'm like he's not. I don't think he's overrated, but like Hollywood is overrating him.
Yeah, I think he's definitely overrated. Vin Diesel, I think is overrated, and I
got behind him.
Yeah, well, it's weird. Like a lot of the internet culture, Facebook culture specifically, loves Vin Diesel. Like Vin Diesel's page on Facebook is one of the most followed pages on that platform. Like it's insane the amount of people who like follow him and love Vin Diesel when he's like
a socialite status with these guys,
right? And it's like, what is he in? He's in Fast and Furious.
That's what I'm saying.
And he's Groot.
Yeah,
like he doesn't have much else going for him.
I don't think. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't heard anyone, and I haven't. Because I'm sitting here like Mike Myers, but I don't. And maybe it's just my own perception of where we're at with action stars and comedy stars are like. I'm going to tell you right now, Will Smith, overrated.
Yep. I agree.
I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you guys right now. Will Smith is overrated. He's done shit films for the last 15 to 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know when he was good in 3 films.
I completely agree. Because, like, you could say Adam Sandler to a degree, but at least Adam Sandler has been in critically acclaimed films and is a decent actor in, like, each of those.
I mean, you could say like Adam Sandler overrated and he had a comedic sense now because he's just not that funny. But like, I don't think he ever. See, my thing with like overrated is like Sandler for Uncut Gems was like wanted to make the push for an Academy Award.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, he kind of just stays in his own lane.
Yeah,
like you don't see too much Sandler doing this or that.
Which is why I'm like kind of hesitant to call him overrated, whereas I'm way less hesitant to call Will Ferrell overrated.
Oh yeah, his comedic shot. And it's unfortunate, too, because these guys, it's like you build yourself up to a point where you just have to keep at that plateau or else you're forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
Comedy's the worst thing to get in the world.
Yeah.
Like the guy at the GOAT of comedy, in my opinion, I mean, besides Robin Williams, rest in peace, Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
For Jim Carrey to hold the throne.
Yeah, he's been at it for a long time. And like he still going pretty strong, I would say. Even though I think
in the Sonic movie, I was like, that's not a bad. I mean, it's kind of Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey, but like, it's the same thing with Tom Cruise. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's not the best, but you're gonna get taken care of.
I was gonna say you're gonna get what you get out of a Tom Cruise / Jim Carrey film. Like you get what you expect to get, and that's that can be interpreted as a positive.
You used to be able to say that. Yeah, you used to be able to say that about Sandler. I don't know if you could say that now.
Mm-hmm.
And Will Ferrell, same token.
Right. If you like watching a man-child, then sure. I guess Will Ferrell's great.
Comedy sucks. Did you get You get a 3-year window in comedy, right? Like you have to work all the way up. You get 3 years to just nail it, and then you're not gonna be funny anymore because that next person comes up with the next funny joke.
We haven't talked about actresses really, like overrated actresses, just actors.
Sandra Bullock.
Yes.
Like 100%. Julia Roberts.
I agree. Yeah, definitely Sandra Bullock for sure.
Wow, just stepping over Julia, huh?
Well, like, I don't know. We haven't seen Julia Roberts in a movie in a while, have we? Whereas, like, Sandra Bullock, I feel like is in a lot of, like, Oscar baity type, like, Blind Side, extremely loud and incredibly close, like, type roles. where like she's just trying to like grasp at that Oscar trophy.
Yeah.
Gravity, she's like the worst part of Gravity. She's just flailing through space going,
wow, come on. You gotta, what would you do, you know?
I would not do that because I wouldn't be in space.
Fucking mic drop.
Boom.
Damn, beesh.
Melissa McCarthy. I think she's
a little bit.
a little overrated. Just like from a comedy perspective. Like she just falls down in her movies all the time. That's the joke.
She hit 3-year run. Who's the blonde haired chick that Australian, lost a lot of weight, lesbian now?
Oh, Rebel Wilson?
Yeah. I thought she was, honestly.
Overrated?
Yeah, I never got, and it wasn't like a weight thing. Like she could come out now and be smoking hot, and I still don't know if I'd like her jokes. Like
I don't think I've seen enough with her in it to call her overrated for myself personally.
Yeah, it's team 3 or 4, and there's been a lot of hype, and there's still like a lot of follow up. Like Jonah Hill, you could almost say, but I feel bad for him because he took like a mental turn, which wasn't that great, and he was like another guy that was like, I didn't ask for the spotlight.
Seth Rogen, I guess, is kind of overrated to me.
He's close to it, yeah.
Yeah, like
I mean, for you, yeah.
Yeah, because like to me, he's just like stoner comedy guy, has the weird funny laugh. I can't even recreate it. It's so bizarre. But yeah, I think we covered that pretty well.
There's a lot. I mean, let's just face it. That all of Hollywood.
Well, I mean, what you think is overrated is pretty subjective. Like,
not to me.
No, I'm just kidding. Well, because like someone could totally like explain why they think Tom Cruise is overrated, and I would
have to kind of get like I would
agree with their perspective.
I was about to say like there's a lot of it's like a one trick pony, you know. But I mean sometimes it's like I'm sure at one point Arnold was. He still might be.
Yeah, I'm sure people were talking about Arnold the same way they were kind of talking about The Rock now. But at least Arnold, I feel like, had different, I guess, personalities in like film genres because he did like comedy and like he did the Terminator. Like I can't see Dwayne The Rock Johnson playing the T-1000, you know.
Right. Well, and I'm just from watching the new Jurassic Park movie to watching the first one within like 3 days. Like, movies have completely gone.
Chris Pratt. I think he's definitely like starting to be overrated.
I'm wondering who's going to take Tom Cruise's reins, and I'm like, I think it might be Pratt.
I feel like Tom Cruise has more charisma though. Like he's got more of a, I don't know, panache to him. I feel like.
Yeah,
and I hate using
Tom
that
Cruise,
word,
dude. When you're the GOAT, it's hard to do that.
Because like Tom Cruise, I feel like in most of his movies has a personality, even if it's just Tom Cruise's personality. Whereas like Chris Pratt in movies that are not Guardians of the Galaxy, I feel like he's just generic white dude.
Yes.
Like he's so bland. He doesn't really have much of a character. I mean, his character in Jurassic World is, I care about dinosaurs. His character in The Tomorrow War is, I care about my family. Like, other than Guardians of the Galaxy, he really doesn't differentiate with the roles he takes.
Question to you is, though, if you take 80s, like you get 80s Cruise going, right? Kind of when he, like, where is Chris Pratt in his career compared to Tom Cruise? Like, is Chris Pratt at Magnolia stage? Or
I wish he was.
Well, I'm saying, like, in terms of how long they've been doing it, like Tom Cruise, that's 20 years of acting for Cruise. Like, The Outsiders was 1980, and the next thing you know, he's in Cocktail and Risky Business, like in 83, 84. Like, he took over. So that was 17 years. So Chris Pratt got into acting. Like, his first big role would have been Guardians.
Well, Parks and Rec.
Well, you take out the film. I mean, he lost a shit ton of weight for all that, and he got into so like when Guardians come out.
Well, Guardians came out 2012,
right?
And that propelled him into leading man status,
right?
Because after that, he did Jurassic World.
That's what I'm saying.
And then he started doing all these movies where he basically plays the same character.
Tom Cruise was like that. Like Risky Business propelled him. Like what got Tom Cruise that first? Like, dude, you're gonna be the soul of the star of the movie.
Well, like,
here, why don't we pull it up real quick?
Yeah, you look that up. Well, I think my argument against that would be like, there's a difference in that Tom Cruise, the roles that he took after he got thrust into stardom were different enough to where like those movies kind of stood on their own with like a differentiating performance. Like he plays a different character in Magnolia than he does Top Gun, than he does Mission Impossible.
I guess what I'm saying, this is what I'm saying. Because The Outsiders, Teen Angst, right?
I forgot he was in that.
So that kind of got him Risky Business. And then he's in All the Right Moves. And then he's in Legend. And then he's in Top Gun. So, like, so far, let's see. We got a Pissed Off Teen, Risky Business I haven't seen. Pissed Off Teen. All the Right Moves, Pissed Off Teen. Legend, Pissed Off Teen. Like, I think that's like a Warlock thing, like, which isn't...
Interesting.
Right? A young man must stop hordes of darkness from destroying daylight and marrying the woman he loves. Ooh, this might be a freaking...
might be spicy.
Might be a recommend. Top Gun, Pissed Off Teen.
Was he a teen in that, or was he just a young man?
You know what I'm saying? Like a young... I'm just going to say young man. Pissed Off Young Man. The Color of Money, Pissed Off Young Man That Can't Learn. Cocktail, Pissed Off Young Man.
See, a lot of these movies I haven't seen, so I can't, like...
But that's my point. You've seen the Chris Pratt stuff. So I'm saying, like, Rain Man, I feel like Rain Man is when he turned it around. Because he goes Rain Man, and then he goes Born on the 4th of July, in which he plays an Army vet that's trying to get... I mean, I think he falls, like, succumbs to, like, alcoholism, and he's got no legs. And then he goes Days of Thunder... Right, A Few Good Men, The Firm, Interview with the Vampire. So now we're starting to see range with him taking on some different roles, and still playing a little bit into the thriller genre. Because like that's what I'm saying. Like Chris Pratt is still young in terms of where's Chris Pratt at. Like he's playing into the target market that everyone's like, that's a Chris Pratt I know and want to see. Do you? And if he started in 2012, he's getting in that stage of Tom Cruise, where Tom Cruise started taking a little bit more. Variety of roles.
I guess my doubt with that would be that because he's such a big star already,
right?
That I think he's just going to play it safe and do the movies that will make him a ton of money, where his image is perceived as the same as it is now.
Right.
He's just like generic white guy leading actor in a movie. Like I don't. Like, he could go that route if he wanted to. Like, he could go into, like, oh, I'm going to do some, like, indie films, and I'm going to play a character that's, like, got inverted eyeballs and who breathes out, you know, mint chocolate chip ice cream or some shit. Like, some weird-ass shit. But he's not going to, I don't think, because I don't think he wants to risk...
I'm even, like, just going... Tom Cruise is just an action star, dude. But he does have more charisma and a better character around him than Pratt does. I agree with you 100% on that. He embodies what you kind of want him to, but it doesn't stray. Yeah. I'm just curious. I wonder who would take over the reins. That's the one thing I'm waiting to see. Who's gonna? Because like The Rock got it for Arnie, right? Like just big jock that just can throw anyone around. It's like watching. It's a circus show with them.
Our last question comes from Benjamin. He asks, which actor/actress do you think you know the best based on their body of work? As in, who do you think you could accurately describe their personality, etc., based on their performances?
Wow.
That's a meaty question.
It is.
Thank you, Benjamin. I guess...
I think that's BJ. Shout out Lemensky?
I think so.
Yeah, shout out BJ.
Let me verify that.
It's the one that gives me so much goddamn gruff about the time on these things.
If
you made it to the end of this, BJ, go fuck yourself. So.
Oh, shout out.
I'm sorry. Well, we might have lost a fan.
I guess I check and there's.
I don't even know if he's a fan.
There's 29 subscribers on YouTube now.
We might have lost someone that. Yeah.
He'll hear word of mouth about it and he'll be like, "What? Whatever." So immediately comes to my mind is Keanu Reeves, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, we have The Shrine.
I exactly. He's right there.
Yeah.
In all of his John Wick 3 glory. I guess other than him, and I know it's kind of a meme at this point, but I don't know. Ryan Gosling to an extent. Like
you think Gosling?
A little bit.
Really?
He's kind of a cheeky bugger. Like, I've watched interviews with him, like, mostly promoting Blade Runner, but he's a goofster. He's kind of a memer.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think he's someone who like he just loves making films, and he loves like kind of getting into those experimental roles that like Chris Pratt probably won't ever get into.
Yeah, because he's safe and timid.
And
Shout out if you're listening.
I doubt it.
I doubt. There's a little reservation in there. Hey, what if tomorrow we go down, it's at 29, and you're like, oh, BJ unsubscribed. He's like, no, I still listen. Turns out Chris Pratt left the show. I doubt it.
Oh no. The prophecy. Yeah, no, I mean, I've seen a decent amount of Ryan Gosling films, so I think I could safely say that he seems like someone who is, pretty down to earth, but just someone who enjoys like the filmmaking process.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. What about you?
Honestly, I mean, it's Kurt Russell.
Yeah, I had a feeling you were going to say that.
He's the guy that I've seen the most, and I feel like every time that you see him, you kind of got a vibe on where he's going with stuff. Mm-hmm. And he seems like a guy that I would really like to like let's go play like billiards, and just hear stories.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he'd light up the room. He's a great storyteller, and he wouldn't have any issues. Because he's got so many to pull out of the bag, and he remembers all of them, that you can't wear him down with stories. And then he knows that whatever he tells you, it's going to fascinate you.
Yeah. So
he could give you a level 3 story, and he'll know it's a level 10, and he kind of can up it or down, And he's got Goldie Hawn as a wife, and like... Dude, he's just I feel like that guy's just lived and loved life.
I have a kind of weird answer, but I think it makes sense.
For me or for you?
For me.
Okay.
Shia LaBeouf.
Really?
In a weird way.
Okay.
Because he was a part of a lot of childhood films and like TV that I watched. Like he was in Holes, he was in Transformers, and then like after that, he started doing like all these weird roles. And he also is known for being like a pretty controversial public figure. Like he's somebody who stirs up a lot of trouble and controversy. So,
have you seen Honey Pot?
Honey Boy?
Honey Boy?
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's on my watch list.
Yeah. Have you heard about him when he did his I guess it's avant-garde art show?
Where he sat in a museum with a bag over his head, and you could go and stare at him, and he just wouldn't move, and he was like crying or something. Yeah, I heard about that. I've heard about a lot of stuff.
That guy?
Well, here's the thing: we don't know any of these people, Mac.
Well, but I'm saying out of the 3 that you gave me,
I think I could.
I'm saying if I sat you in a room with the 3 that you just gave me,
I'd probably know Keanu Reeves the best.
That's what I'm saying.
But here's the their personality. I think I could gauge what their personalities are just based on the types of movies they've done.
Yeah.
And also a little bit their outside personal lives, like Shia LaBeouf.
That's what obviously. I'm saying. If you could gauge the personalities, I feel like that the level of relatability and being able to interact would increase. I don't.
Right. But you truly don't know a person until you've actually met them.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I think Shia
the Beef
is a lot more fucked up than any one of us can imagine. And and I'm not poking fun at you. I mean, it's I know Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger's a guy I feel like I could get to know. Person that takes his own life. I can't imagine.
You won't ever.
You know what I'm saying? I can't think. And it might be just in those moments that we don't know him, but if they're there, you have a lot more demons than a lot of people could ever freaking discover. Mm-hmm. So, but it's an interesting one.
Mm-hmm. Did you have any other answers for this?
No, I'd never. I had when I was 8. When I had paper route, I used to have this daydream that I'd become friends with Bruce Willis, and that I'd write him a letter. And that we'd become best friends.
Oh, nice.
Then we'd be able to hang out. Yeah. And then I found out fan mail exists, and I was like, boy, that was just dumb. So I never really envisioned any of these people outside of just they're on the screen imitating someone, and then I'd be the worst person if someone sat me down. It was $500 to get 10 sentences out of someone. Now, granted, I could probably do it, but it'd be. I don't know. I don't think I'd have any interest in it. Mm-hmm. And then I would also be reflecting of their judgment on me, at me.
Yeah.
Like, it would be off. I'd be so in my fucking head about talking to that person about what they're thinking right now and how to steer the conversation.
You just wouldn't know how to approach it.
Vomit on their shoes. Yeah.
Speaking of vomit, thanks for getting through this, everybody.
Oh yeah, it's not that bad. We got
one more bit of business before we wrap up.
So I gotta do this?
Yes, you get to make a film pick.
Woo!
It's your turn.
What are we? I don't know what do you have another movie lined up that we should see?
Not yet.
Okay, so this is something that we're gonna talk about. So this hasn't happened yet, and obviously this could get cut if we need to, maybe. I really want to talk about one film, but I don't want to talk about it. Do want to talk about it. Okay, so should we go with something that we both haven't seen or you haven't seen? What do you think's a more fruitful conversation that we could have?
I mean, either way I think is fine. Like we've done both.
We have done both.
So I think it works either way. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. It's on me for not being able to make a decision. I think there's one more film that I want to get through, and then I'm going to start dipping into movies that we haven't seen. Because I just don't think it will come up organically, and it's a movie that I just want to talk about.
Well, lay it on me.
Everest.
Ew.
I alluded to it. It was between that and then, I mean, something that we haven't seen, or The Sweetest Thing. Now, The Sweetest Thing I'm holding on to. We can't do two bad back films, but The Sweetest Thing is like fucking insane. We just do it. We just watch and we talk about it with Everest.
We can discuss it later.
Let's not commit to any shit.
Right. I like Everest though. John Krakauer. Right.
Yep. You read the book?
I've seen the movie before.
You've seen it before?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that you've seen it before.
Yeah, I saw it in theaters.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jake Gyllenhaal, Josh Brolin. Yeah, I've seen it. Jason,
let's do it. We're gonna do it. We got to do it. Because I read that.
Jason Clarke.
Yes. Yeah. Who plays a weird. Yeah. I can't. Every time I hear his name, played a really weird role that I have to look up. But yeah, Into Thin Air is the book that Krakauer wrote. I read the book. It's like one of 3 books that I've read. Pretty proud of myself.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, and then they made this thing, and it's yeah. So yes,
cool.
It'll be sick.
I'm looking forward to it. So if you don't want to be spoiled for Everest, be sure to watch that before episode 23. Thank you guys for listening. You can find us at www.neoncrewpodcast.com. We also are on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. You can find us on various social medias. We have a fan page now on Twitter that's being run by a friend of ours. So
the man.
The man. Thank you, Chris. Shout out to you.
Thank you, Chris.
If you want to find that on Twitter, I believe it's Neon Crew fan page.
As of right now, there might be some creative tinkering.
Okay.
There's a couple. I mean, we got a couple fans that would like to go by a different name. So,
gotcha.
Or it stays the same.
TBD.
Who's that?
Well, it's certainly not Tom Hardy. I'll tell you that. Speaking of which, Mac, do you have any last words?
Yeah, check out our Twitter page too. Don't let it be redundant. Or you could just go to the fan page.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, WWTHD.
Bye, everyone.